chat when no one's giving me praise, but it's fine.
You look cute. You look cute.
Stop it. Keep it going. Sorry.
It didn't give me the link. Can anyone grab it for me?
Yeah, 2 seconds.
That bullshit again. And if you want, like, you can send it to like one of the places and I can just copy it to the other places. Game updates, viewers lounge, and then free jury and jury as well for jurors who can't be here right now but might want to watch.
2 secs. Just sending it now. Also, do you want to send it to Facebook?
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm not on Facebook. I'll go on Facebook, I guess.
If you send it, I'll put it on Facebook.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sending it now. Okay, it's in Video Central. Just let me know when to start.
Game updates.
We good to go? Okay, if all 3 of our finalists would come on camera so I can see all of your beautiful faces. I mean, it's just our faces. If Tasha wants to come on camera as well, perfect. Okay, so welcome Andrew, Juan, and Tasha to the final tribal council here at Triumph, Siberia. You 3 have made it here and will be pleading your case to our jury, who will ultimately decide who will be winning this season. So we've kind of gone through it, but I'm going to re-go through it anyway, just for you guys, jury, and viewers. Tonight, you will all start with an opening speech. You will have 7 minutes to do that. Your order has already been decided. Then it will be turned to the jurors. Each of them will have 10 minutes to ask whatever questions they need to in order to decide who they are voting for. And that is your chance to showcase your game, answer any questions, just handle any business you need to. And then you will have final closing statements where it's your last chance to plead your case to the jury. So as a reminder also to jury, we know that you guys have a big decision to make. Please remember, be respectful, talk about their games. Same to the final 3 as well. This is your moment. This is your chance. This is what you've been building up to. So firstly, congratulations. Well done. So we are going to start with opening statements. And I believe it is going Juan, Tasha, and then Andrew. So I'm going to pass it over to Meg because she is going to be our time master.
Is that correct, Juan? Is that the order you chose? Sorry, just want to...
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you're going to go first. Alrighty. So Juan, I have this timer. It's going to show up in the top right like we did before. So let me just start it for a test. So make sure you can see it. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to restart it. Just let me know when you're ready and I'm going to start your timer.
I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Thank you to all the prod viewers and this cast for having an amazing game. But as we all know, the game of Survivor is all about utilizing social, physical, and strategic gameplay to outwit, and outlast. And I came to this game with the goal of showcasing each attributes and getting to the end of this game. Starting off in Baikal, things were going smoothly with us winning our first challenge. I knew that was my cue to begin beefing up my social game, engage my possible allies. I began the idol search and found a code freeze advantage pretty early on, and I knew I wanted to use that to help build relationships with my tribe mates. Off the bat, I started connecting with everyone on my tribe and quickly forming a trio with Tasha and James and another with Tasha and Andrew. These groups are where I started to share my info about the code freeze in hopes of finding more out about the idol hunt and building those relationships closer. I wanted to be a useful tribe mate, so I made sure I gave 110% in challenges and clutched another win for Baikal in an intense tiebreaker. Winning this tiebreaker made me realize that I could become a possible physical target and increase the likelihood of a code freeze getting used on me. But I wanted to keep the dynamics of my tribe under my control, so winning that helped me keep my tribe in the state that it was without going to tribal, especially with all the confusion of idols and advantages. As tensions began to rise and information was getting spread around Baikal, I realized I was starting to get paired as a duo with Tasha and was being brought up in conversations about possible idols and advantages. And I knew I had to do some sort of damage control to restructure my relationships with people on my tribe. Luckily for me, the game made it just a little bit easier when the swap happened, and Baikal 2.0 with a majority, but also being swapped with no one from my alliances, and that was a little intimidating, but it was promising. This swap gave me a chance to explore different relationships and set myself up for the upcoming merge. While swapped, it was brought to my attention by Sky that my relationships with some of my OG Baikal members made people nervous about where my head and my loyalties were in the game, and that my name was probably put out as a possible target for a tribal. This was the moment I knew I needed to beef up my game with OG Baikal and have a plan moving forward. Having that conversation with Sky prompted me to dig a little deeper and to talk with Laura and Duke about how they perceive our OG tribe and our path moving forward. I began planting seeds that me and Duke would be seen as powerhouses of our tribe because of challenge performances and overall dynamics, and that we needed to have potentially sacrifice an OG member at Merge to build trust with Koryax going into the next phase of the game. Fast forward to Merge, we finally made it. On paper, the numbers were 8-5 with Baikal, with tribal lines, but in my mind, it was a free for all and a new beginning to position myself for a deep run in this game. I came in Merge knowing 3 key pieces of information that could easily build or break my game. 1, that me and my alliances all survived swap. 2, there were potentially 3 idols in play, and I have none of them. 3, there are still 4 other people whom I haven't had a chance to meet or have game relationships with. I knew it was beneficial for me to be willing to vote out an OG Baikal member to gain trust from OG Koryax, and I wanted to make sure that whichever Baikal had to leave, that it benefited my game. The Skyblind side was a move that definitely propelled my game to a middle position, from a middle position toward of more stability and more trust from new and potential allies in Nick, Dave, and Michael. It solidified my relationships with Duke and opened the door to for a better flow of information. I wasn't afraid to gather the votes and stand my ground on that vote and take the heat from the aftermath of it. With the blind side of the first merge tribal comes the damage control. I purposely leaked the plan to Brady because if no one else had told her, I wanted to be one step ahead of everybody. But leaving out Cal M, Cal G, and James definitely put me in a position to where I knew it would be an uphill battle gaining their trust back 100%. At that point, it only made sense for me to target one of those 3 people who I left out. I weighed my options, and because of the state of the game, Cal M was my next target. That was the round that one of my top allies, Andrew, started to getting heat because of our connection and involvement with the last vote. So I knew the best thing to do was to go with the voting block we made from that first merge tribal to save my ally. The next round, things really started to heat up. No idols have been played, and the votes have been crazy. And I still had my main group of allies and other tribe mates who were priority for my game. This round tested me more. I'm sorry. This round tested me more than any other round at this point. Andrew just went from almost going home to immune, and I knew my name was an option if people saw me and my relationships as threats. It was quiet for me most of the day, but I was eventually alerted about a plan to blindside Duke minutes before tribal, and that I wasn't told because of our relationship. As soon as I heard this info, I told Duke, hoping he had an idol or something to save himself because the voting block that we had made in the rounds prior were targeting him. 3 idle plays later, Nick leaving that round left me out of the loop, down at a close ally, and in a minority for the first time. His final 10, I knew my ass would be in hot water had I not won immunity. Once again, I ended up in a showdown and clutched that win. I needed answers, and I needed that round to ultimately turn out in my favor. I utilized my safety, and I had conversations with everyone to figure out that vote from last round, and it landed on Michael that round, with everything being revealed at Tribal. Even though that round had went the way I needed it, I still did not feel safe going to Live Night because of my push to save Duke and voting him in the minority. Duke secured the win, and the scramble began for the next vote. It was a quiet day filled with 4 snaps to ease my anxiety because it was quiet. I found out that there was an alliance formed, and they were pushing my name as one of the main targets for Live Night, along with Brady and Duke, if he didn't win immunity. I alerted Brady in this plan, and we went over options. In the end, I was being told vote Brady to survive, and I felt like I had no other choice, and sadly had to see Brady leave. Live Night. Again, I knew my ass was on the line, and as I just predicted, the cold freeze came into play, and I was a lucky recipient of one. This made the challenge nearly impossible for me, as I didn't even last 2 seconds. I knew that it would take a miracle to survive. And little did I know, Duke winning that immunity was the miracle that I needed. Saving him, including him in gave me the numbers I needed to take a shot at the group that was created to targeting me, him, and Brady. Going into Final 7, I still felt as if my threat level was too high. So getting another Cold Freeze played on me really killed my chances at immunity. I wasn't going to win anyway. But this round is where I knew I had to take a different route to not be targeted. So I made a deal with Kalji to not push his name, and also made it a point to try to reel in relationships with Dave and Laura, because F6 was going to be an important vote. Duke leaving was one of the hardest votes for me, especially going into the next round. Final 6 comes, and it was very important that it was very apparent that I was option for half the tribe and even possibly my own allies. As a physical threat, I had a pretty decent game up to that point, and I focused on the person. I had to focus on the person who I thought was a threat, which was Kyle, and I was able to secure that 3-3 tie to keep me in the game. It sent my allies to rocks, but again, that still worked out in my favor, and we on to Final 5. I made it to Final 4 by convincing Tasha to tell Kyle that he was saying his name, and my only goal was to get eyes off of me. And I'll explain more at the end, but if you have any questions, just let me know.
Thank you so much, Juan. I don't know why that timer does that sound. Alrighty, but next up is Tasha. Tasha, let me know when you are ready and I will start your 7 minutes.
I am ready whenever, babe. I just woke up. Woo, let's go.
Okay, well, I will start it now.
Okay, so I wrote a speech, but I feel like that's just not my style, so I'm not even gonna read it. So so I'm just gonna go down the votes of people that were out. Sky, Aurora, shut up. Sky, I didn't feel that close with. So that was an easy vote for me. Kyle M, that kind of sucked because I felt like we were like starting to create close bonds. Nick, that one sucked. Michael, that one sucked. Brady, that one sucked because I feel like we were really starting to bond. James, way sucked. Like seriously, like having him lost. Duke, Laura, I was pushing your name constantly, so like whatever. And Kyle G, I'm so sorry, but I started this game aligned with Andrew and Juan, and my allegiance to them was just where I played my game, honestly. Like I don't have any wins, hardly know how to use Discord, and I still made it to the end. I think that my social ties and me being social and being loyal, being honest, like that's all I can really say about my game. I won like 18 cold freezes. But like other than that, but other than the 18 cold freezes I won, from the codes or whatever and talking to the bot, I think that I made it to the end because I was loyal to one Andrew. Again, like I don't know. I probably should have read off my notes. I just think that this game has been very emotionally exhausting. And I gave my loyalty to Andrew and Juan at the beginning, and I've kept my promise, and that's why I'm at the end. I wasn't winning anything, yet I was here. We like I was willing to leave the game for Juan, because I feel like he would have been willing to leave the game for me. And like first rocks in Triumph history is cray. I don't know. Not just waking up from a nap having to do a speech, like but maybe I should read it. No. Okay. I don't want to read it. Okay. So, I think that my loyalty is been shown through and through for who I was with. I would raise my hand at tribal and say who I was voting. I have not lied to people in this game. I feel like the other two cannot say that they did not lie. I can say I did not lie. Like hands up, every tribal saying this is how I'm voting. This is how I'm voting. I convinced Andrew to go to rocks with me. When he didn't want to. Okay, yeah. Do I have to do the whole 7 minutes?
You can do as long as you want.
This is just a really hard game, everybody, to be honest. Emotionally, I was going through personal issues, and still managed to show up the best I could. So, and again, the one person I want to say I'm sorry to is Kyle G. Like, I know you think it's like all game, but like I'm really sorry. I said I wasn't gonna cry. Wow, I'm such a crybaby. And even at the end, I asked Juan to put me in the middle, and he did. So like, I just feel like my social connections is the only reason I'm here, and I feel like that's really telling. To everybody I voted out and raised my hand during tribal and said I was voting out. Sorry. And yeah, that's it. I'm done.
Alrighty, thank you so much, Tasha. Now for the last opening speech, we will go to Andrew. When you are good, let me know and I will start the timer.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here you go.
First I wanted to thank the jury for their time today. It's been a very long and difficult game, and we all put our full effort into this. That's something I want to talk about in my opening statement, effort. I put so much work into this game, and I want to express how my journey this season got me to the end with these two people here sitting with me. I joined this game with the idea that I would just be having fun. It was the summer, and I figured the best time to play an org would be during the summer. I was originally cast for Triumph Congo, but I had to decline due to other obligations, and I was just way too busy to put in my full effort in such a long form game. And so I happily accepted when I was given the offer of Triumph Siberia, as I knew it would be freer during the summer and working at a university. A few days before we were to start the game, my grandmother had a stroke and a heart attack. She was admitted to the hospital, and from speaking to her on FaceTime, she seemed in high spirits. As soon as I answered the call, she said to me, "I don't know why they're keeping me here. I'm fine." And it was all just the usual jokes with my family. I figured that this was just another one of her accidents, and she'd be out of the hospital in a few weeks and back home. By the time the game started, she had progressively got worse, and my mom asked me if I would travel home to visit her. By the time I was headed home to see her, she had another 3 strokes. I was in the hospital visiting her actually the day that Duke did the Excel sheet for us for the coin exchange challenge. By this time, she was already non-responsive. The most she could do was squeeze my hand if I asked her for a response to my questions. But even then, we weren't even sure if it was a reflex or she actually understood what I was saying to her. Um, my grandmother raised me a lot in my life. As both my parents worked full time, I spent a lot of time with her learning to cook, which you all know that I love to do that, and watching game shows, one of which was in fact Survivor. When I spoke to her, I joked that we're going to miss Survivor in all of our shows while she was stuck here. Um, I didn't ever expect to have to go through this and play an org at the same time, and this is something I had to suffer in secret about for the fear I would be targeted for something like sympathy points. Walking out of the hospital for the third day in a row, I told myself I was going to try my best to put my full effort into this game for her. Regardless of what happened over the next month, I was going to try my best to get as far as I could with her in mind. She was a huge fan of players like Parvati and Sandra, being able to maneuver and work through social dynamics of the game while also being a strategic force. I thought about all those kinds of players that she loved, and I worked through the game and tried my best to put that sort of strategic and social effort throughout the season. Around the time of Kyle M's vote, I learned that my grandmother had finally passed away. After 6 strokes and 2 heart attacks and a week of suffering, she was finally able to rest. But that didn't change the anxiety and paranoia for me at home and in the game. I was constantly dealing with pressures at home, whether it was not helping enough with my family or working hard enough in the game. I had been told by some people in the game that I was starting to feel out of it or just not myself. Yet I had to keep my true feelings secret for fear of how it would affect my game. I had to deal with family members fighting about inheritance or who was getting what items from my grandmother's apartment when all I wanted to do was talk to her again about this crazy survivor game I was playing. And she actually knew about orgs and the ones that I was playing, and she was very proud of me when I won my first game a few years ago. She was always proud of the work that and effort that I put into everything I did, and I hope that I can explain myself well enough for you today that you can understand what it meant to triumph. I triumphed in the face of adversity. I triumphed in the face of doubt. Triumphed when people told me that I was manipulative or a liar or that I had no path to the end. I really did do everything I could to get here, whether it was countless nights talking to my closest allies to make sure that they understood I would do everything for them, or spending hours thinking about strategic or social moves, imagining what every player's plan was or how I could work through that with their own plans. Whether it was mediating family disputes about who got cookware or photo frames or plants for my grandmother's house, or trying to make all my cousins and nieces and nephews happy as I was the fun one out of the bunch, while they were also publicly voicing their disdain for the time that I was spending on my stupid online game. Despite all the flaws and insecurities and blunders and successes, my game was truly myself. It was truly human. Um, like all the good parts and the bad, and you can see how, despite that not being someone who patronized or worked the jury when someone was on their way out, I played a game that was true to myself. I was pegged as a hero early on when we played touchy subjects, but I never saw myself as one. I was just myself, my flawed, insecure, anxiety-ridden, grief-dealing self. And I think I played the best game I could with the cards I was dealt. For those who knew about what I was going through, I thank you for keeping it to yourself and helping me work through my grief. People like Kenzie, who talked to me about their own grandparents passing away. Sky, who unknowingly helped me pack my funeral outfit when we were on video calls one day. Brady, Tasha, and Dave, they all talked to me during my darkest moments in this game as well. And even all of you who offered to talk to me when you knew something was wrong. My game wasn't just me, but it was all of you as well. It was the culmination of 19 other people who gave their heart in this game, and they gave their heart to me as well. Regardless of how you vote tonight, I thank you so much for everything you guys have done for me, and I'm never going to forget this game. The players I met here are truly some of the greatest humans I can meet, and I couldn't say anything bad about any of you. Thank you so much to the cast, the production, and everyone else who helped me through the rough times, and to the viewers for being interested in our psychotic game. Thank you so much for your time, and I hope to answer any other questions that you might have for me.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Thank you, Tasha, and thank you, Juan. Your opening statements are now done. And this is where we are going to move over to the jury. Now, one at a time, they are going to come off of camera and on mute and ask any questions they need from you, make any statements. And this is their time to really decide who they want to vote for. Jury, because I know you're listening to me. Remember what we have said about the rules. Remember what we have asked of you. Doesn't mean I'm not going to come off camera if needed. Okay. But with that being said, we are going to get started with the jury questioning. We are meant to start with one person, but I do not believe they are here. They may join us shortly.
They're here.
She's
Or
here.
right now. That was perfect timing.
Yeah.
So once she is prepared, we are going to welcome our first juror, Sky. Sky, you will have 10 minutes. Megan will be in charge of the time, so listen out for her.
Yep.
Megan, thank you.
Be able to see the timer in the top right corner of your screen, Sky. Okay, so once you start talking, I'll start the timer for you.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm good. Perfect. All right. So, first and foremost, I just ran out to my car, so please excuse me, but I am going to be a little bit extra because I deserve some TV time since you guys so graciously took that away from me. Please know that this is all fun and games for me. It's not going to be anything serious. Anything that I say is not going to be anything personal. So first off, I did take some notes because, you know, your girl's got to have notes. Juan, I'll go ahead and start with you. Obviously, you and I came into this game. We didn't know each other. I knew of you. I don't know if you knew of me, but I did know of you. I tried to connect with you on a personal level, on a game level, and it was just very, very difficult. I feel like yes, you did have somewhat of a good social game. However, it was very difficult to have conversations with you. And I did talk to a lot of people about that as well, about how difficult it was and things like that. I want to say that I was a little bit confused about which one of you guys were the head of my vote out. So I guess for you, I would just like a little bit of clarification of how that went about. Was it something that you got tipped off on, or is it something that you just saw threaten me? That's kind of what I want to know from you.
Thank you for the question, Sky. I'm gonna start off by saying, like, I think we had great conversations too. It's just when it got to a game talk, I felt like we were both reserved with each other, and I get that, and I'm sorry about that. When it came down to your vote off, I think how it happened was in that swap merge or in the swap part of the game, I honestly wanted Laura or you gone at that point, like instead of Kinsey, because I knew Kinsey had nobody. So, like I said, after that talk I had with me and Duke, I was kind of planting seeds like, I don't know how like you are with Sky and Laura, but like, can we talk about it? So we like talked about things and realized that, oh, we both tried to bring you in on the alliance and you kind of didn't accept that. I guess you want to keep us separate, which I get. So coming into the merge, at first Laura's name was out there pretty heavy, and then I know I was talking to Duke and I was talking to Andrew about it, and Laura found out about her name, and we were just like, well, why don't we vote? Why don't we just vote Sky? And the problem with that is we didn't know if we had the numbers. So I knew personally I wasn't scared to go out there and ask Nick and ask Michael and ask Dave to join in on that vote. So yeah, I think it was like I think I had a big hand in it. I won't say I did it by myself because obviously I had to go out and recruit numbers, but I did have a big hand in it. And it was my intention for either you or Laura to go home that round. And because of idols and Laura knew her name was out there, I didn't want an idol to be played on Laura. So I chose the route to blindside you because I knew you were closer to her. And I think that, put me in a position to where I could get closer to Duke and get closer to other Koyaks and still have my same allies from Baikal 2.0 with me.
Okay, thank you. Tasha, I want to go to you next. So obviously coming into this game, we both knew each other. We played a game together. I guess I was a little confused. I don't know that I have a real question for you. I was just a little confused because in the last game that we played, I was very loyal to you. I was the only vote to save you, and I was also somebody that was fighting for you to stay, right? So I am a little bit disappointed because I felt like you pretty much just gave up very early on and just relied on the other two that are in your trio. And which, if that's your gameplay, that's your gameplay, that's fine. I just feel like we needed to get a lot more out of you. We needed to see you make some moves. We needed to see you do stuff for yourself, not just for Juan and Andrew. And so, yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed that you kind of just gave up. Go ahead.
Did I not make them make moves? Did I not make Andrew make moves? Did I not make Juan make moves? Yes, I did. And you got off call one night, or I got off call one night, and you said, I don't know her like that. And they came straight to me and told me. So, yeah. That kind of breaks the
I don't know that I didn't say that I didn't know you like that. I think it was more of just like, I don't know why I felt like you were throwing me under the bus. And I did say that. I said, I feel like she's throwing me under the bus. Because you were making it very obvious. Yeah, because you were making it very obvious and you were being like, oh, like we're so close, whatever. So
I never said we were close. I never said we were close. I just said I knew you. Like, so, okay. Next question. Bye.
Yeah, you're good. Okay, and then Andrew, I wanted to save you for last because you were somebody that I felt like I was so close to. You actually were number 3 on my trust rankings pretty much the entire time. You were somebody that I felt like I was super close to. So as you can imagine, I am extremely hurt by you. I am extremely not like I don't know how else to explain it. I understand that you were going through personal stuff, and I just want to say that I'm like thinking about you and your family. I totally get it. I lost my dad to cancer during a game, so I get it. I know how extremely hard that is. I know how hard it is mentally and emotionally. So props to you. You did great. I guess like for me, I just want to know why, or if you just didn't feel the connection, because also you kind of left me on red that same day that I got voted out as well. So I just kind of want to know like what was going through your head. Like, did you just feel like you couldn't trust me? Was it just because of the trio you were in? Things like that.
Yeah, no worries. I think where our relationship suffered is after the tribe swap. I think because I went on the tribe swap and I started making connections with Nick and Dave and Michael, and I actually got to vote with other people. We were kind of on summer vacation at Baikal. We didn't really get to vote together, and so I really didn't know if I could trust you to vote with me. And then I felt that once we swapped back onto the merge, I felt that your connections with Kyle, Duke, Juan, and Laura would be a lot bigger than mine, and I was more like a fringe ally at that point. We actually had a call, or we had just had a talk with some voice messages right before the vote, and you said that I would never vote Laura, and I just can't do it. And at that point, we were switching the vote to you, and I knew like there was no way that you were ever going to do the same for me, possibly, where you were like, I'm never going to vote Andrew. I think it was probably possible that you would vote for me. And then I also wanted to touch on what you said about Juan. I was the catalyst for your vote out. Juan and Duke both came to me and approached me and said that they finally had a talk about where you were trying to separate them both. And so what I did is I went to Tasha and I told her about the vote, and then she agreed to do it. And then I also had a separate alliance with Michael, Nick, and Dave, where we decided that you going home would probably be better than the original plan that James came up with to vote for Laura. We thought you were a much bigger threat. We thought voting Laura at this moment didn't make any sense. And so when Juan and Duke came to us with this proposal to vote for you, we jumped on it immediately, and I let them know. I let them know as soon as possible. Juan and Duke are pushing Sky's name. We have to jump on this. This is the moment to do it. And so I was the
Okay.
reason that you went home.
Okay, awesome. Well, just so that way I can use my time, I do want to clarify that one, I was not trying to push you and Duke away from each other. Unfortunately, Duke and I are actually like, I consider us to be friends for right now. But I was not actually trying to do that, so that's really unfortunate. Also, you guys were not wrong. I pretty much am a threat, so congratulations. But honestly, congrats to the three of you. Juan, you're probably gonna win. Awesome. And good luck.
Okay, thank you, Sky. We are now going to move on to our second juror of the night. So please welcome Brady.
Hey guys, I'm juror number 2 now. Kyle, snatched your wig on that one. No, I'm just kidding. But with that being said, congratulations. Obviously, you guys did what the rest of us couldn't do, and no one can take that from you, regardless of how the rest of this plays out. With that being said, so far, based off what I've heard, I feel like only one of you has actually really presented their game to the jury. I feel like some of us need to brush up on public speaking a little bit. But with that being said, Tasha, I'm going to start with you. I don't really have any questions for you. During my vote out, I told you that you were playing for second or third, and you said you were okay with that. So that's where my vote's going, unfortunately. Wish you the best in this. Wish you the
Thank
best.
Love you for
Support.
that, sweetie.
Alrighty, thank you. Andrew and Juan, Andrew, you said on your way out you feel like you didn't patronize anybody, and I felt rather patronized by you after I really tried to look out for you in this game. Regardless of what other stuff was going on, like deep down, obviously I did have your back. And obviously, like I said, I am very sorry about what you're going through, and that's not easy. And I'm sending you and your family lots of love and condolences. But I also do want to say, just based off your opening speech, I feel like I wanted to hear more about your game, because I feel like it was talking a lot about your personal life, which I totally understand factored into this game. But I also want to know more about the moves that you made, because I haven't really been able to pick up really on much. So I would like to know, what is your one game defining move that you think changed the trajectory of the game, and how did it impact you getting here?
So I don't think there's one single move that I did that would define my entire game. Except for the Nick vote, I voted correctly for every single vote in the merge. I was the catalyst for the Sky vote. I invested in my allies in order to vote out Kyle M when he was targeting me. Nick going home was a side effect of the Duke idol. I was I was one of the people that found out that you and Michael were working together. I started to notice that you guys typed a lot of the same way, and I had a feeling that you, Michael, and Duke were working together, and so I started to push that to everyone in order to get people to vote for Michael. Same with your vote out. I decided to bury the hatchet with James and work together with him in order to target you and Duke as the next people to go. And then once you were gone, and Duke won immunity, I was the reason that James went home. I asked Dave and Tasha to go into breakout room number 2 specifically to change their votes to James, just so that I would get what I wanted in that moment. I was instrumental in every single vote in the game. I was the reason why every single vote happened except for the Nick vote. I worked incredibly hard in this game. I worked with all of my allies in order to get where I am right here. I made extremely large social maneuvers in order to get where I am. My alliances with Juan, Tasha, Dave, Nick, Michael, they got me here. It's the reason that I'm here at the end. I didn't just do like a social game, but a strategic game and a physical game when I won immunities that I needed to when I knew my my ass was on the line. When I was about to go home because Kyle was targeting me, I knew I was just going to become a target the next round, and so I won immunity for that sake. I knew when Kyle G was targeting me at Final 5, I had to win immunity, and I pushed through and I did it just so that I could vote him out and get into Final 4. Everything I did, everything that you guys saw happen in the game was because of me. I didn't have to get any advantage in the game, yet I knew exactly where every single advantage was. I even knew where your advantage, I don't know if it's real, but I even heard that you had an advantage to see the votes after they were casted.
Me?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Oh no, that's not true.
Okay, well, I heard about every single advantage in the game. I knew where every freeze was, every idle was, and I think I played as hard as I could. Maybe it wasn't as visible as some other people, but I was definitely instrumental in everything.
Thank you. I missed a comment on a couple of those things. The first one being, I feel like the round Kyle M went, obviously you had personal stuff going on, and I feel like I was one of the main people who was pushing for you to stay, and I feel like you kind of taking credit for that. Is it really fair because you weren't really on for the last couple of hours of that round? And the second, me, Duke, and Michael were never working together. Michael actually explicitly asked me to not tell Duke that he voted Nick as well. We never had an alliance. That was simply a voting block for one round. There was never an alliance chat, so that read was off as well. With that being said, it is good to hear. I think you did play a good social game, but I do think that some of the jurors are a little bit upset with how you handled people leading the game. Because I just feel like it was a little distasteful with how you kind of sent people to the jury. But with that being said, I'm not going to sit here and discredit your game. I do think you played a very solid game and you won when you needed to, and I respect that. I'm excited for you to hopefully explain your game a little bit more, and I think hopefully you can hold yourself accountable for some of the things that you did in this game that maybe weren't the best of how you handled specific things. So hopefully you can do that with some of the other jurors as well. Next up, Juan, bitch. I want to say out of the three of you, I think I respect your game the most simply because I feel like you were the most upfront and transparent with people. At least with me, from my experience, and I feel like with some of the other jurors, I feel like you were able to be pretty genuine for the most part and not really need to lie to get yourself to the end. And I think that that's something that is kind of hard to do in the game of Survivor, but it's also very respectable and commendable. I think you were pretty solidly positioned, and I think a lot of the jurors expected you to go out multiple rounds after the me and James double, and you were still able to maneuver yourself to the end. So I do want to commend you on that. I think that you played a very well-rounded game as well, and I think that you should be very proud of yourself. And I do want to say, like, obviously we weren't like the closest like in the game, but I do think that you always had that surface level like respect for me, where you never kind of did things that weren't unnecessary. And I do thank you for that in this game, because usually when I'm in FTCs, I cuss out every single bitch that's sitting on those chairs. So to just know that I am proud of you. My question for you is, what is one thing that Andrew and Tasha could have done to improve their game? And what is one thing that you think that you did better at them? Oh my God, English language is so fucking hard. What is one thing that you think you did better than them in this game?
Thank you so much for that, Brady. One thing that I think they could have done better to improve their game was vote me out at that at that tie at Final Six. They all knew that the last immunity was an endurance, and that every endurance challenge that was had in the game, I won, or I had a pretty good score. Now would that mean they probably would have gotten voted out next? I don't know, because again, a lot of things could have changed had I have left. Because again, Tasha was still close with Kyle, and Andrew still had his bonds with other people. So I definitely think like them taking a shot at me when they definitely could have, instead of risking their own games to save me, probably would have helped them in the long run, especially now. But I think one thing that I did better was again manage my relationships with people. Um, I like you said, I didn't really have to piss people off going into jury. I kind of stood on my business and said it like it was. I know even when you left, Brady, we were on call for like 2 hours that whole night because we knew what was going on. No one was talking to us. Everyone was quiet. And I really enjoyed the talk we had. And I remember the last thing you told me was, "Bitch, you better go win this shit." Like basically falling on the sword. And I can never thank you enough for, being that person in the game who, even though we weren't working closely together, we still had a mutual relationship of like letting each other know, like, hey, this is what's going on, or this is why I did this. But I definitely think I handle my relationships better. I didn't have to be in 1,000 alliances because I didn't want to give people more than what I could. So I managed my relationships on a case by case basis, and not having to really group people up in different groups and settings just to get what I needed. I used my social game and my strategic like positioning of myself and my allies to keep surviving round after round.
You did your big one with that answer. Like I said, I'm never going to be close-minded in the jury. Andrew, you still have a fighting shot for my vote. I'm going to try and stay on a little bit as much as I can. But good luck to the two of you. You both played great games. And with that being said, out of the two of you, may the best player win. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brady. And we are now going to move on to our third juror. So please welcome Kyle M.
Hi guys, how are you? Congratulations. So first of all, I am totally a petty, bitter bitch, but I also love these games and I deeply respect Survivor. So yes, y'all suck, but also congrats on getting to the end of a tough game. And I just know like anything that's said from me today is like said in love with the game, and I love the drama that goes with it and nothing personal, all right? So okay, so the social component of Survivor is for me the most important aspect of the game. I believe that social is strategic and strategic is social in a game that has one without the other is hard to win with. So yes, I went out towards the beginning of the merge, so I missed a lot of in-game conversations. But from where I've been sitting, it has been hard to see the social games of this final three. You've been explaining it better tonight. But a big theme of discussion at Ponderosa, I think Brady mentioned this, has been jury management. And it seems that at least two of the final three here iced a lot of the jurors out, including basically ignoring me, particularly on days when they were the person leaving the game. And it seems to me that this is poor decision making just strategically, as the people you were brushing off are now expected to vote for one of you to win. So I want to give you each a chance to earn my vote. And my question is this: why should I, Kyle M., give you my vote tonight based on your social game, particularly based on your social game between you and me? And I would encourage you to think about the words we exchanged, if any, on the day that I left. And Andrew, like I understand from what you shared today how that may have impacted our communications that day. So like I still have some feelings about those interactions, but like just know I also sort of understand. So like no need to like dive into that again. Thank you for being vulnerable with us and like sharing all that earlier. So yeah, my question is, think about our social interactions and why that should earn you my vote tonight. So go in whatever order feels good to y'all.
Does anyone mind if I go first? So Kyle, yeah, that's one of the biggest regrets of my game is how our last conversation went when you left. Every time that you would message me or we would be calling, Brady would immediately message me and say, "Stop saying whatever you're saying to Kyle." It was obvious that you were just fishing for information from me. And then at that point, I was, of course, going through a lot of personal stuff. And so I think I might have iced you out at the end. But there was a lot of times where I did want to go far with you. We talked a lot on OG by Call about working together. We talked a lot about, even when we returned at the merge, about working together in some capacity. However, it's the same thing with Sky, where once we've been gone for so long, and I had been building bonds with Koryak, I had built bonds with the people that I voted with, and I felt like I never could have really trusted you fully when we voted together. However, I did have like a good social relationship with you. We talked a lot. One thing that made me realize how much I actually really knew about you was when you guys were searching for the merge idol. There was a point where both of our groups were working on finding the merge idol. I was working on it with Juan separately, and then also with Dave and Nick. And I know that you were working on the idol with Laura and Sky and maybe Duke at some point. And I went to Reddit and I actually found a username called Stars in the Sky. And I found a post that you made about one of the one of the idol puzzles that you were trying to get other people to help you solve. I looked through the post history of that account and I found a comment about you and someone and their husband moving to Tacoma, Washington, and just talking about some good food spots, and I knew that that had to be you. And so I don't think I would have discovered things like that if we didn't have a social game, if we didn't actually know each other well enough for me to actually figure out that that was you. So there were actual points where I feel like I actually understood you through our social game together.
Thank you. And it's funny because I found James on Reddit looking for shit earlier in the season, and I like knew it was gonna happen, but whatever.
Do you want to
Also-
go next? Do you want to go
Also,
next?
your
Juan?
report, your post got removed because of me. I reported it.
Do you? Do you
Yeah, I'll go next.
Yeah, go ahead.
okay, let's
Whoever's
do
next. Thank you, Andrew.
So Cal, oh yeah, our relationship I thought was an interesting one, even from like the beginning, because I feel like it was there. Like I wanted to work with you personally, um, and I feel like we had a good relationship, like social relationship at the first part because we didn't have to go to tribal. So we just talked about our lives and you working on your projects for the house, and all that. Swap came, and at that point, like I said, I wanted to really beef up my social game and kind of get in more. I don't think we had a bad relationship at Swap. We just again didn't really have to do much in terms of game talk because the tribals that we did go to, it was more on the line of people who weren't as active. So when it came to the merge and your vote off, I will say it wasn't a hard one for me. I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say it was a hard one. It wasn't a hard one because the conversations we had, I felt like they kept going back to the basic thing of like, oh, I don't know what's going on, or I don't know, like, I'm not really that connected, which I did believe. I don't think you had as strong connections as other people, but at the time, I felt like our relationship in the game, we weren't getting information from each other like in general. So at that point, I knew that I needed to like you leaving at that point would probably be better for me than anyone else. Even like when Andrew's name was on the line, like I thought that your name was a way better option than someone who was playing the game with me, giving me information. Even though he's probably spreading the information I was giving him, it was still a relationship that people would come to me and tell me like things like, "Oh, have you heard this and have you heard that?" But our social relationship, I think we did good personally, but on a game level, it just wasn't as clear or wasn't there. And that explains why I voted you out that round. I thought that, again, it was way better for my game to have someone here who was giving me information and moving things around, and someone saying, I don't know what. I don't know what's going on or stuff like that. And I know when you did leave, the last things you said was, "Please don't vote for me," and I said, "I'm not." Again, that whole thing was, it was still early. There were still three idols out there, and I didn't want to take a chance for my name to catch a stray vote and be the result of idol plays. So I hope that explains it and clears it up. But like I said, I wish we could have had a better game relationship. But I think our social, like when it came to everyday life and things, I think we had a pretty good talks about that stuff.
Thank you, Juan. Did Tasha just leave? She here still?
Her connection may have dropped. We are just going to try and get her back.
Andrew, I have a follow-up for you then,
Pause
really
your
quick.
time, or do you want to ask
Oh.
other questions?
Oh,
Sorry.
I'll finish up.
Okay, go ahead.
So you claimed you knew where every advantage was, like, so you knew I had a cold freeze before I left?
That I did not know.
Okay,
but when once you gave it away, I did know about it.
So once I said it out loud.
Sorry?
Nothing. I said it on my way out of tribal. No, I'm just like filling time.
Oh, no, no,
All
no.
right,
I just
but
knew about advantages that were inherited.
um, okay. Thank you for qualifying or clarifying that. And Tasha, I guess we'll maybe hear from you later. All right, so Andrew, your social game with me is based on Googling wands. We didn't have to talk, so you didn't really have to invest. Very helpful. Thanks, y'all. Good luck.
Okay, thank you, Kyle M. We are going to move on. We are going to try and get the connection back with Tasha, but we will continue on. And we are going to have, I believe it's Nick is next.
You are
You're
muted, my
muted.
love.
Sorry, my mouse was being weird. Hi guys. Congratulations on being in the finals. I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting in jury the entire time being like, God damn it, all the people I have been working with this whole game are still in the damn game. So I'm very proud of you guys for making it there. I missed you all very much. So I do have like some questions written, or well, I have a question for each of you that I wrote down. And I guess I'll start with Andrew. So Andrew, if I had not gotten voted, or if I had not gotten idled out, I should say, which trio would you have been more loyal to? The one with me and Dave, or the one that you're sitting here with tonight? Because I think it's interesting that you leaked to me like immediately that this was a trio, and like you were telling me everything that Juan was doing on the idol hunt with you. So I'm just kind of curious to see like where your loyalty was truly lying if I had not gone home.
Yeah, it was absolutely you, Nick, and Dave. It was me, Nick, and Dave. Like we planned that final three from so early on. We worked so hard together. As soon as Juan gave me the idol clue, I immediately fed it to you guys. We worked so hard on that idol together. We worked on so many different strategic moves and social moves. I honestly would have loved to be here at the end with you and Dave. That was like my dream. We talked about it even. We talked about imagine we could be sitting at the end together and like doing like a live final tribal.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly, uh, y- you'll see after the game, but constantly I would say like I wish Nick was here, or I wish Nick was here in the final five with us, or final four. Like I miss the hell of it out of you. Like you have no idea. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Yes, same. I missed you a ton. Okay, so oh, Andrew, before I like get off you, I am very sorry for everything that you've experienced going on in the game. I didn't know that any of that was going on. So like,
All good.
a lot of empathy towards you. But I want you to utilize the rest of this to talk about like what you did strategically, because I feel like the jury is having a hard time deciphering which of the two of you is like the mastermind behind the trio. So like really like go hard on the game portion from here on out.
All right.
Okay, and so Juan, moving on to you. Um, so I was so shook to see you playing this, obviously. We talked about that, and then I was so happy to do the wall sit with you, even though I knew you were gonna beat my ass. But I was like, at least I get to talk to Juan for like 20 seconds that I'll be able to do this like for. So I was very happy that we actually got to play at least for a little bit of the game. Um, so my question for you is, when did you become aware of the whole world knowing about us being on production together? And how were you able to diminish that perception that we were super close? Because right before my vote out, I had people like James coming to me being like, everyone knows that you two are on production together. And I was like, have I been under a rock this whole time? Because I did not know that was a thing. So I'm curious what your perception of that was.
Yeah, so I knew like as soon as I saw your name come up on the cast reveal, like my jaw dropped. I'm like, what the fuck? So like immediately then I'm like, everything in the oral community is basically public knowledge. So it wasn't a surprise to me that, people do their research, people look people up, people know people. Like a few people are in the server that we're on prod for and that was in this game. So like at the beginning, I knew that that would be a narrative if we ever came together. And to diminish it, honestly, I didn't really like do much because me personally, I know a few people in this game. Everyone knew people in this game for the most part, and so I just didn't give it any like thought. I never denied it. I never said no, that's not true. I was just like, yeah, we know each other. Like that is what it is. Other people know each other. If that's a deal, then we can hash it out. We can handle it. But that's not what I'm basing my game off of. So, like I said, I didn't really do anything to diminish it. I just didn't let it affect my game to the point where I made it a problem or let other people make it a problem. And seeing you leave was really hard for me because um, I saw you in my Final Four plans because I was unaware of the whole Andrew situation with the other trio, but I did think that I was closer to you than I was with Dave and Michael. So I felt like I was more open with you in that aspect. So I felt like when it came down to like those in-game things where I was kind of caught up in some votes and was kind of struggling like with the tie, I feel like you probably would have been that person who would have had my back no matter what. I mean, we don't know that obviously, but I felt like you leaving kind of didn't really help my game as much as it needed to, but I found a way to, overcome that. But yeah, I didn't let our relationship that we knew each other before the game hinder my game. I just, if people knew, they knew, and if they were going to do something about it, they would have. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Miss Tasha. So, my question for you is that throughout the game, you came across as an emotional player, which honestly to me is not a bad thing because I feel like I'm also an emotional player at times. So what helped you control your emotions better as the rounds progressed? Because clearly something had to work if you got yourself to the final three.
To unmute. I feel like getting the backing of Andrew and Juan helped me, which is why I was like, I'm never gonna go against them. You know what I mean? I'm bad as an emotional player. That's funny. As I'm crying. That's so funny. Um, I just knew that my allies would have my back. Like I knew they would have my back. Like, and I don't think that Andrew or Ron would ever go against me. And they didn't. So that's why we're at the end. And that's the end. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, thank you so much. Good luck to the three of you. I'm looking very forward to being friends with, well, I'm already friends with Mom, but I'm looking forward to being friends with you two afterwards as well. And yeah, good luck.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Before we move on to the next juror, we just have some pulled together time. So we're just going to have Kyle M come back and just re-ask his question for Tasha since you accidentally left the call. So you'll have this time to answer
No,
his
my
question
phone
as well.
died. My phone died.
That's fine. So Kyle M, if you just want to quickly ask your question,
Okay,
Tasha can answer.
come at
Yes,
me.
I finally won the battle back. I'm back again, bitches. Okay. I don't
You
know if
did
you heard my question.
great. Your ping
Thank you. Oh
pong
my
was
gosh.
killer.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Okay, so Tosh, I don't know if you heard my question, but basically,
I
I wanted
didn't.
to give you an opportunity to earn my vote, talking about your social game, particularly the game you played socially between you and I.
Okay, so I feel like socially, me and you, it like took a minute. You know what I mean? I think that it took a minute to develop, and but then we started talking about your cute eyes and stuff, and then we started flirting. Then we started flirting, and then it got better. Um, so I think I think I deserve your vote because I didn't fuck you over. Like, did I vote you out? Yes. Was it honest? Yes. But why are you looking up?
Oh, I mean, yeah, no, go on. I'm just thinking. You weren't honest with me. You didn't talk to me that whole day. So that part I don't agree with, but the flirting I do.
Okay, like I already know I'm a zero vote finalist. It's fine. Like it's fine. I just gotta, get through these votes.
You're
I
doing
would
great,
love your,
girl.
I would love your vote, but I'm stopping for the team to be over. That's all I can say.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me back again. Okay, bye. Thank you, guys.
No
Bye.
worries. Thank you, Kyle. Okay, now that we are back on track, we are gonna move over to our next juror, which I believe, and I hope he's still here. It is Michael. Yes, he is. There you are, Michael.
Hey y'all. Should I start yet or okay, perfect. So I do want to start off being like on a positive note and just congratulate the three of you for making it this far. Like you did something that none of us could and like really hold on to that. And each of you played played your strengths in your games, like Juan, like even though you were, you had this coldness to you that worked, you were still able to get like me close to you, even though we were not in any alliances. And you were like kind of, I don't want to say emotionless, but didn't really let that get the better of you, which I think is something that's really commendable. And you positioned yourself so well throughout each of the different votes, even if you were not on the right side of them. I think Andrew also like you were in so many different alliances. Like you were well connected. I mean, I think even on the swap, like you being able to swap and meet a lot of other Koryak people also helped you. And you just got to know so many people and got in their good graces so well. So that was really awesome. And I also want to just empathize with you. I know what it's like to lose grandmothers. Well, I lost both of mine last year. So like my heart goes out to you because that is not easy. And I'm sorry that you really went through all that. So Atasha, I also really want to commend you for really being able to like I remember when on our swap you were so out there at first and then you were like, nope, I'm shutting my mouth. I am like not I'm gonna be quiet. And like you got all the way over here. Like so like don't say that you're gonna be a zero vote finalist. Like fight because you're here, you deserve to fight. Okay. So like don't like do not rule yourself out. Keep fighting. Like I do not know where my vote is going right now. So I really want all three of you to fight. Like Tasha, you really got at a lot of people's personal stuff and you really got people to tell you that. So that's also something that can be used as game. And like you did something really good with that. So like that's really commendable. Okay. Um, okay. Also, I do want to get into like the game side of things now. So I guess like a big part of like what I value in games is listening and being able to listen to people. And that's something that kind of hurt my game. And I really want all of you to kind of show that within your explanations for my questions next. So I guess I'll start with Tasha. So first I really want so remember when we had our call. Like it was like probably the best call I'd ever had in the game, like so far. This was during the Kyle M vote. Like you were at the top of my trust rankings that vote. And I remember we talked about two names that were controlling the game. And correct me if I'm wrong. We said those names were Juan and Andrew. We both said it at the same
Yes, we
time.
both did. We
Was
did.
that true? Okay.
That was true. Yes.
Okay. So why then end up in the final three with those two people?
Because I promised them at the beginning. I promised them like literally round one that we're working together.
Okay.
Like, can you go against that? No.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We did have a good call.
Yeah, no, and absolutely, and I respect that. I respect you being loyal to them. But you weren't really loyal to any of the other people, which is not like necessarily a bad thing, but if you can talk about like, kind of faking, not really faking that, but also kind of faking that, I
Was
would
I
love to hear
faking
that.
it though? I raised my hand at every tribal saying who I was
No,
voting.
no, but I mean like being loyal to like we had a great call. You said you'd be loyal to me, and then you vote me like two votes down the line, right? And so like even same with Kyle, and like I know you said that it was like kind of hard for you to vote him, so I'm not like, but at the same time, I kind of want to hear your reasoning for kind of having that core loyalty with people and then kind of voting for them, besides Juan and Andrew, right? Which I respect you going to the end with them, but I just want to
It's
hear more
because
about that.
it's because
Mhm.
I made the loyalty to them at the beginning.
Okay.
And that's why. Okay.
Okay.
Next.
Absolutely. Okay. I'm gonna go next when I want to go next. But thank you. Okay, so Juan, I guess what I'm really wanting to know about is more of your social aspect, because we weren't in any alliances together, whereas Andrew, we were in multiple alliances. So I really want to hear more about some of those. You talk about your positioning, but I really want to hear about how you use listening to impact your social gameplay and the moves that you made with that.
Yeah, so I'll relate this to the round that you left. So um a little bit before that, me and you had a call. I think this was a round or two before. We had a call. We played like Fortnite for like 2 hours and like talked a lot about the game. And like you said, during that whole thing, my job was just to listen and to see if we were on the same page. And I think we noticed a lot and we talked about a lot of things on that tribe call. And we even end up making a final two leaving that call. Personally, I'm not a big fan of like final twos because it was so early in the game, you never know. But I will always keep myself open to, exploring those and never turning them down because you never know what could happen. Um, but when it comes to listening, I also listened to a lot what you were saying, and I felt like a lot of it, was kind of, I won't say it was you were saying things to detriment my game or like have bad effect on my game, but a lot of stuff that you were saying was, to benefit yourself. A lot of it probably wasn't true. Um, and I guess we know that now since when you got voted out, you said it. But I think that shows a lot
Mhm.
to my social game how we were able to get off of that call, play Fortnite for 2 hours, and you're like, oh damn, I feel good with one. Let's make a final two. Even if it was fabricated or not as truthful, you still felt comfortable saying those words to me. And again, with the alliances, like I said, I don't like giving too much of myself to everybody because at some point you have to take that away, right? And so me just regulating my relationships with people one on one in a case by case basis instead of always bringing in a group of people and saying, "Hey, we're going to do this and we're going to do that." I would rather listen to people and see how they think the game is going and how I can adapt my own choices around that to possibly form new allies. Like for example, later in the game, when me and Kao G had a kind of a little situation, and we both agreed to each other, like, look, if we both survive this round and don't win immunity, let's not push each other next round. I abided by that, even though I knew that people would use the fact that me and Kao went against each other to say that, hey, Juan's pushing your name really hard. I was
Mhm.
napping that day. I was watching TV, watching live
Okay.
feeds, sleeping because I knew that would happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, I really wanted to make the social part of my game a really good part so it can position me in the game like it did to get here.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I just want to have enough time for Andrew as well.
Sorry.
But no, absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. So Juan, not Juan, Andrew, so obviously like we had formed alliances together, and you were clearly very social. Like you were talking with everyone. But I guess I really want to learn more about your strategic gameplay and moves that you made. Um, because while you were the catalyst, I haven't seen any like ideas that you came up with. Said I want to do this. This is my idea, and I'm gonna make sure that it happened. And so that's really what I want you to talk a little bit more about. Um,
Yeah,
if
for
you
sure.
could, yeah, because I know
Yeah.
like things were a lot after the Kyle during the Kyle M vote, and I want to hear like, did you pick yourself up after that? Like how did you know?
So I did try to pick myself up the best I could.
Okay.
If you remember, right after the Kyle M vote, the Duke vote was being pushed. If you remember that me, you, Dave, and Nick were in that call together, and I kept pushing to you guys that Duke was a bad idea to go, and we should have done James. I knew that going for Duke was a bad idea because of the connection with Juan, and then I also knew that you guys were being targeted because the Koryak hadn't been targeted yet. A Koryak hadn't gone, and everyone on Baikal wanted to see a Koryak go, and so I started pushing for James or for I think it was Laura that we were pushing, and they said either Laura or James should go here, and everyone was telling me I don't really see the reason. I also found that we had a really good relationship, like we had a really good social relationship. However, I feel like after Cheryl Canning was created, where it was the five of us, like me, Dave, Nick, you, and James, and then we created that four-person alliance where it was me, you, Dave, and Nick. I figure that you knew that you were the fourth like you were the fourth person out of that. And so I had to work around that and start to push things to people like Tasha and Juan instead, because I knew that you would obviously know that you were a fourth and you would go out and find a better second, final two or final three. And so that's where it came in, where my relationship with Tasha really mattered, and my relationship with Juan really mattered. Juan and I worked from day one, and I helped him with that Sky vote. Like I said, I was the catalyst for that vote, and I helped make it happen with Duke and Juan, and that's why they saved me at the Kyle M vote. Similarly with Tasha, I saved Tasha on Koryak 2.0. I was the one who worked with you guys in order to get Ty out. If you recall, I was the one who told you and Dave that that Ty was targeting you guys. I told you guys right away that Ty was targeting you and that we needed to take out Ty at this moment, and this was going to be something that would solidify us. Yeah, so those are my strategic moves.
Time is
Yeah,
up. We do have
absolutely.
a little bit
Thank-
of full time if you have anything quickly. So
Yeah, no, I just wanted to thank you guys all for hearing this, and congratulations as well for making final three.
Okay, thank you, Michael. We are now going to move on to our next juror. So please welcome James. If James comes on. There he is.
Hello. Sure. First of all, I'd like to say congratulations to all three of you. You're not necessarily the three that I wanted to see at the end here, but you're definitely the three that made it, which is undeniably impressive. While I do have a first, second, and third in terms of who I'm leaning towards for voting, my vote is open, and your answers can very much change things. So we'll start with one. One, my perception of your game is that you played like a slippery snake who spouted a lot of verbal diarrhea without much to show for it. You froze me out. You lied to me. You lied about other people. You lied about me to other people. You never worked with me. And you gaslit me on my way out the door as though my reservations about you were unwarranted. This is to say that because we were never close in this game, I have no idea what you actually did. I love a good social game, and a lot of people here think that you played the best social game. But from my perspective, your social game was non-existent. And I love a good strategic game, but it looks like Andrew ran circles around you strategically. So tell me, do you think your social or strategic game was stronger, and why?
Thank you. Thank you for that question, James. I will say that I think my social and strategic game was definitely stronger than both of these two sitting here.
Sorry, can
I will
I
say
just
that,
cut you off just for a moment? The question was, do you think your social or strategic game was stronger?
oh,
Like
my
which
social
was
or
stronger than
strategic
the
game.
other? Mhm.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Honestly, I feel like it shifted at points in the game. Like at first, it was my social game, and like around final, let's say 8-ish, 8, 9-ish, it shifted more towards strategic because I had already built those social connections. So I guess they interchange with each other. But to take it back to where you said we really didn't work together, I will be honest, James. The first day, like we had that trio with me, you, and Tasha, like you were literally high up on my list. Like you were the person I really wanted to work with because I saw a little bit of myself in you. And I think like the whole thing with the what happened with the idol clue that and all that shenanigans that happened, I think that kind of drifted us apart a bit. But like I told you, I didn't care about that. Like if you had something, if you didn't, you at least told me and came to me and apologized, and I took that for what it was and I put it behind me. And even in the merge where your name was coming up as like a target, I was always pushing back at that because I wanted to work with you, James. And I even told you that I was like, we can be villains together in this game. We can do shit and people would never guess it. And so I tried as hard as I could to keep that with you, keep that word with you, up until I figured out, like, again, this group was made and you were like one of the head people pushing my names. And I knew at that point that I could no longer continue that because, you know, if what's someone who I want to work with, they don't want to work with me. So I think that when you left, I think it was a good move for me. And was it sad? Yes, because I did want to work with you, and I think I did put in that social capital. Again, we just swapped away from each other, and things turned out differently. But when we came back together, I still fought, and I still tried to be one of your top allies. You just found connections elsewhere, which is respectable, which is what the game of Survivor is. But I was able to adapt around that and make sure that I found my footing and still made it here.
Fantastic. I honestly, I had another question for you, but you pretty much hit the nail on the head with answering that other question as well. So that was pretty much all my questions for you. Thank you, Juan. Moving on now to Andrew. Andrew, you seem like you had your finger on the pulse the entire game. You were on the right side of every vote. Information always seemed to come back around to you. And even when you were going through a bit of a low point, you managed to bounce back brilliantly. I'm very impressed with how you managed to navigate the social dynamics on the tribe and strategize accordingly. That being said, you also played very erratic at times, and your paranoia was very off-putting, and your jury management, from what I've been hearing from a lot of other people, was poor. I know there were certain times where I was having conversations with you, and you confronted me in a way that I felt was undue. And it really sort of inhibited my ability to connect with you at times. From my perspective, it seems like the best thing that you did in the game was barefaced lying. And I do appreciate a good lie. I really do. I want you to own that and tell me about times when you blatantly lied to people to advance yourself in this game.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I lied to you about going to the end with you and Dave. I knew that was a round where it was pivotal that we worked together. We had to have Brady and Duke go in that round. Once Brady left and Duke won immunity, I knew that that was my shot to take you out. We had been butting heads the entire game, and I feel that every time you were fed information from me, it ended up somewhere else anyway. I felt that we were constantly at our like just fighting each other, and I think lying to you and saying that I would go to the end is something I had to do in order to get you out of the game. I think you were one of the best strategic players aside from myself that was playing in the game, and I had to go and target you. I also made lies that I don't think was necessary. Like when I lied to Brady about the Sky vote, it wasn't necessary. I think there was parts of my game where I lied and I didn't necessarily have to. But I think it was a mix of, you know, how, as you were saying, anxiety and stuff that I was going through, that it kind of got a little bit sloppy towards the middle. I mean, tried to lie my best for social reasons as well. You mentioned that Juan's game was very social while mine was more strategic. In order to bring my social game up, I had to make bonds with people and say that I was going to go far with them when I generally had a better idea of working with other people. I made huge bonds with Dave and Nick and Juan and Tasha, and so I had to go with those over the ones that I was making with you later in the game. I know we finally reconnected toward the end of your game, and we were planning to work together, but I had to lie to you in order to get you out.
Fair enough, thank you. Personally, I think your biggest oversight was not voting out Juan instead of me or Duke or Laura or Kyle G, knowing that the final form unity was endurance based, which Juan was bound to win. This suggests to me that you didn't recognize Juan's threat level and that there's a good chance that he wins tonight. Was that an oversight or was that intentional, as you thought that you could beat Juan? And if it was intentional, then why do you think you can beat Juan?
So it was intentional. I wanted to go for far with Juan. I planned to either go once Nick was gone. My final three was myself, Juan, and Dave, or myself, Tasha, and Juan. And that's exactly what happened. I knew Juan could win a physical challenge. Yes, he could win an endurance comp, but winning an endurance comp doesn't really put a whole stamp on the game itself. I've done things that I that Juan wasn't able to do. I was able to make social moves with the Koryak side that other people weren't able to. I was able to meld into all these different relationships and all these different alliances that Juan wasn't able to do. I was able to find advantages, and I was able to get the idol that Juan was trying to look for by in turn sharing the idol information with Nick and Dave. And I was the only one in the game that knew Dave had the merge idol. I worked extremely hard strategically and socially, that I didn't think winning a final four endurance comp was the most important thing in the world, and that I could still beat Juan at the end.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Andrew. Now, Tasha, you talked a lot about being a loyal person, never lying to people. But what that you really meant is that you were loyal to these two and kissed their asses before, or kissed other people's asses before you stabbed them in the back. You got close with people, you tell them that you were never going to vote for them, and then you'd vote them out with no remorse and a simple sorry right at the very last second. Out of everyone, I was the most offended by you when I was voted out. So, are you fake or are you a liar? In terms of the game, not personally, in terms of the game, are you fake or are you a liar? One is the right answer and one is the wrong answer.
I was trying to get them off of you.
Tasha,
And they
Tasha,
wouldn't.
we're a bit stuck for time. I just want a one-word answer, fake or lie, in terms of the game.
I don't think I'm a liar, so I guess fake.
Okay.
But not
I
to
felt like we got
you.
I felt like we got pretty close. I had deeper conversations with you than I did with anyone else in the game.
Me
Talking about
too,
personal stuff that I never thought would come up in the
I'm
game.
not James.
Tasha, we've only got a minute left.
Let me
I've got another
say
question for you.
let me talk, okay? Me and you had deep conversations, but I already had my allegiance to Juan and Andrew. But did I like you were one of the closest people I was with?
Okay. Well, talking like you said, we talked about personal stuff that I never thought would come up in the game. In the end, you chose to believe some lies that were going around about me. Whatever, I can look past that. I feel like I got to know you pretty well, so I'm going to ask you 3 simple questions, one-word questions about me, and if you can answer all of them correctly, I promise that I will vote for you to win.
Perfect. Go.
Question 1: what is my job? We've talked about all these things on call.
Your job?
We've got like 5 seconds left. Very quick one-word answers. What's my job?
Okay, go to question 2.
What is my boyfriend's name?
Your boyfriend's name is Dave?
How many brothers do I have?
2.
Okay. Well, thank you to all 3 of you for your answers. Congratulations again on making the final 3. I had so much fun playing with you all. May the best player win.
Okay, are we just double checking, James? You're good to go? You're done?
Yeah, I really did get everything I needed there. Thank you so much.
Okay, perfect.
And
Thank you, James.
well done, especially to.
Okay, thank you so much, James. So we are now going to move on to our next juror, who is just entering the Zoom again. So once he is here, I do believe he is. So we are going to go to our next juror, which is Duke. So Duke, if you want to come off mute, there he is.
What is up, guys? I will say I am so pumped for all 3 of you to be here. Congratulations. I did miss a couple of the past, questions, but I wanted to comment first of all on Andrew, your opening speech. I thought you had a great opening speech. Number one, I thought that it really resonated with me, especially having lost my grandmother. It was really near and dear to me early on in life. It kind of hit me a little bit. So I just wanted to, sorry for your loss and everything. In terms of the game, though, I do want to commend Juan. I think, Juan, you played a fantastic game. I think that your social connections, some of the moves that you made, and some of the positioning that you did in the game was really, really top notch. I think you did a great job with threat level management. You mentioned saying that Tasha and Andrew had the opportunity to kind of eventually vote you out at the final 6, and you were able to, connect with them and get them not to, turn on you. I thought that was a great show. So great.
Duke, just to let you know,
You're
you are
freezing.
slightly staticky. You're freezing slightly.
How am I now?
Sound good.
Good. I did want to point out that the jurors, as they came in, I think kind of revealed my eyes that I think Andrew has kind of played strategically, maybe better than I had anticipated. So I wanted to ask you, Juan, specifically, of your guys' alliance. Would you say, who would you say was the strategist, and can you take ownership to some of the moves throughout the game? I know that you guys were tight, but I wanted to know specifically from you, Juan, who was strategist, what moves were you like a big part of?
Yeah. So personally, I think out of the three of us, we all had our different games, obviously, and we all worked together to bring them together. But I think personally, I made the strategic moves to help me improve my game as much as I needed to. Whether it meant me bringing back information to Tasha and Andrew, and whatever they did with that was their own decision. I had no control over that. But what I did have control over is how my game went with everybody else, no matter what Tasha's and Andrew's connections were. Um, Going back again to the Sky vote, me and you had that conversation in the swap talking about how we thought our OG tribe went and how we could move forward in the game. I felt like if I never would have had that call with you, strategy wise, you probably wouldn't have been willing to flip on Sky. That actually really surprised me when we talked. And you're like, yeah, I'll do it. So I think strategically that call I had with you prior to coming into swap and then our conversations leading up to that Sky vote really was a good strategic move on my part. And then again, later in the game is when I think my game really shifted from social to strategic. I had already had the social connections built up to where all I had to do was make it to Final Four, and I knew I could win that immunity challenge. So like I said, taking out James and Kyle when I did, I think that really gave me a leg up in when it came to Andrew and Tasha staying and not flipping on me in that final six vote. I think strategically getting me out was the best move there because, like they were telling me, you're going to win Final Four immunity. It's always endurance. Like people telling me that scares me, but I somehow managed to get them to Tasha and Andrew to flip on two of their closest allies who weren't us. Right? Andrew voted out Cal. Andrew voted out Dave. Tasha voted out Cal. Tasha voted out people. They voted out people who they were making these deals with and saying that they would go to Final Three with. And I didn't have to do that. They didn't make me have to vote. The only person that I voted out that I really didn't want to was you, Duke. And at that point, I had tried all I could to, take that vote elsewhere, but they just weren't flipping. So I did what I had to do. I think I put a lot of strategic thought into this, and that my social capital helped me make my strategic moves later on in the game.
Yeah, great answer. Great answer. Hopefully I'm not too in and out. I am in a parking lot at a beer garden, but Andrew, I wanted to say that obviously your opening speech was great. You look great. I love the suit. I think it brings,
Thanks.
a nice touch to a finale speech. So definitely you win points on best dressed for sure. My problem with and like I said, as I got out of the game, I think I've been more high on your game, seeing it from other people's lenses. But I think that you lied unnecessarily sometimes in the game, Andrew. And I wanted to ask you, do you think that you lied unnecessarily at any point?
Yeah, absolutely. I will own that up. There was moments where I made decisions about lying where I didn't necessarily have to. My game was so strategically heavy that I feel that my lies somehow helped me in a sort of way, and sometimes they were a little over the top in order to get where I am. I did a lot of the dirty work for Tasha and Juan. They talk about how you guys were strategic about the Sky vote. You guys only brought 2 votes. I brought 4 votes into that. There was a lot of social capital that I had to bring in for the Kyle M vote. It was either me or him. I had to really work on my investments that I had made throughout the game in order to vote out Kyle M instead of myself, which included getting you, Duke, and Juan to vote on my behalf instead of voting for me. A lot of the things that I did
Andrew,
were.
I don't know if you know this, but I did actually vote for you in that vote.
Oh, you did vote for me.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah. So excellent job. That was something that I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no,
So
I totally understand. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. And then so that's another reason why I couldn't trust you later on in the game. I felt that we were kind of growing apart and you were closer to Juan than you were myself. Even though that you said that me and Juan were your closest allies on Baikal, I just didn't feel it with our conversations. I just didn't feel it at all. And yeah, I had to target you and I had to lie to you as well. I lied to you and said that I would work with you and I didn't want to see you go, but immediately I wanted to see you go.
And I totally respect it, Andrew. I think it was a good call on your end. I will say that I do feel, um, more compelled to vote for Juan at this point in the game as opposed to you, but I think you made a hell of a case for me at least, and many other jurors. And I think, even if you don't win tonight, I think you should be really happy with your game. I think you played really well.
Thank you so
and,
much.
and
No
lastly,
worries.
yep. Lastly, Tasha, I just wanted to say, I know maybe some people have been a little bit, turned off or whatever by your game. Getting to the final three, I think, is awesome. I think that you played such a loyal game, and I think that you played the best game that you knew how. I don't see it ending in a win for you tonight, but I think that you should be really proud of the way that you played because not many people can not lie the entire game, as you said, and not many people can stay loyal to their allies into the bitter end. So I think you should be really happy with how you played this season. And I wish everybody else, all three of you, the best of luck. But Juan, I hope that you get the votes that you need to win because I know that I will be going that direction. So good luck.
Okay, thank you, Duke. Just wait for him to go. There we go. Okay, we are now going to move on to our next juror. So please welcome, I believe it's Laura. If she's still here, she is. There you are.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
It's great seeing you guys. First off, I just want to congratulate all three of you for being in the final three. It's something that obviously we on the jury could not do, and you guys are there instead of us. So no matter what happens tonight, you guys should be proud you made it to the end. Um, I do have a couple of questions I have for you guys tonight. But first, I want all three of you guys to close your eyes. I don't want you guys to be able to influence any decisions because I am going to go down the jury at go down the names on the jury. I just want you guys to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you think you have their vote to win tonight. Um, so I'm going to start with Sky. Do you think that you have Sky's vote tonight? So give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the camera where I can see it. Andrew, I cannot see. Like thumbs up, thumbs down. I need to know. All right. Keep your eyes closed the whole time, please, until I say you can open it. Okay, do you guys think you have Kyle M's vote tonight? Yes or no? Okay. Do you guys think you have Nick's vote tonight? Okay. Do you think you have Michael's vote tonight? Do you think you have Brady's vote tonight? Do you think you have James's vote? Do you think you have Duke's vote? Do you think you have my vote? Do you think you have Kyle G's vote? And do you think you have Dave's vote? Okay. I'm gonna ask you to keep your eyes closed. I do have one more question in the same kind of format. If you were in a final two situation with the jury member, as I named them, do you think you would beat that jury member? So I'm gonna go in backwards order this time. Do you think you would have beaten Dave in a final two situation? Do you think you would have beaten Kyle G? Do you think you would have beaten me? Do you think you would have beaten Duke? Do you think you would have beaten James? Do you think you would have beaten Brady? What about Michael? And Nick? Kyle M? And lastly, Sky. All right, you guys can all open your eyes again. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and go into my individual questions. I do have a couple of individual questions. I'm gonna start with Tasha. So, Tasha, a lot of my questions revolve around the final six vote for a few of you, just because I want to know what was going through you guys' brains. So, why do you think, for you personally, it was in your best interest to go to Rocks for one at the final six? I want you to elaborate on that a little more.
I would like to say that I promised Juan my loyalty, and I said that I would sit next to him while he wins, if he wins. And like, if you promise someone your loyalty, that's it. Like, they're like, you have to. So that's it.
Okay. And then the other question I have for you, Tasha, a lot of the jury members were bringing this up to me in the jury, and I noticed it myself. When we were doing the rock draw in the final six, when the wheel ultimately landed on my name, you seemed to have been laughing or clapping or excited about the result.
Why wouldn't I be?
That's the impression
Why
that
wouldn't
people were
I be?
getting.
The people on my side of the rocks?
And I understand that. But on the jury side of things, it was seen as rude and disrespectful towards things. So I was wanting to know, why should we award that with a jury vote tonight?
We went to rocks, Laura. We went we went to rocks. And am I not supposed to be excited? That's just who I am as a person.
I can understand being excited that it wasn't you, but there's a certain line, like, and it was just seen as being disrespectful by some of the jury members, and I just wanted to bring it to your attention.
So I put my name on the line.
I understand that.
And it's being seen disrespectful that I got excited. Okay. Well, so the best way I can say it is, when you go to jury, you can tell them, let me read this right. If you go to rocks and put your own game on the line for your ally, and then you don't end up coming out bad, how are you not supposed to be excited?
Okay, I am going to move on just because I am running low on time. I'm going to move over to Andrew. So, Andrew, before the final six travel started, I made a very last ditch effort with you. I messaged you very last minute, and I was like, is it really worth it to go to Rocks for one? So I'm going to ask you the same question I just asked Tasha. Why do you think it was to your benefit to go to Rocks in final
As
six?
soon as you asked me, the only word I said to you was yes.
Yes.
At that point, we had always been on opposite ends of the game. We had never worked together game wise. And we actually had a call before that, and you said, I don't know what's going on. All of my top allies keep going. And that was because I was voting each of them out one by one. I knew that eventually you would come to me because all of your allies started to go away. And of course, you would say, let's work together. But at that point, my relationships with Juan and Tasha and Dave were so much stronger that I couldn't go with you. It just wasn't in the cards. And then I also knew if I voted for Juan at that point, Tasha would never trust me again. She would go with Kyle and you, and I would be gone at fifth. Dave would be gone at fourth, and then there's your final three. You would be in the final three with Tasha and Kyle G. I knew I had to go to Rocks at that moment. It wasn't necessarily because it was the greatest move for me. I mean, 66% chance of my alliance going home, and we ended up surviving. It was extremely lucky. I put my cards, my whole game on the line, and that's the reason I did it.
Okay. And then super brief answer, similar to Tasha, you were also seen as smirking a little bit when the wheel landed on my name. I personally saw it as you being excited that it was you, but some of the jury also saw it in much the same light. So I just wanted to give you a chance to defend that a little bit.
So at the end there, regardless of what happened, even before, like if you notice while the wheel was still spinning, I was smiling. I was excited regardless of what happened. I didn't mind. I was ready to go home if that was the case. I just thought it was amazing. It was the first time in Triumph that we were ever doing
That
rocks.
actually does make a lot of sense. Yes.
Yeah, it was the first time we were ever doing rocks. I was ready to go home. I was like, that's it. I'm mentally checked out. I'm ready to do this. I'm ready to see whatever happens, happens. I'm a gamer. We're both gamers. You know how it is. It was just a love for the game, and that's why I was smiling. That's it.
Okay. And I totally appreciate that response. Okay. And then one, really quickly, while I've got time, you and I, we have had our ups and downs in this game for sure. Um, a lot of what I saw in this game with you was physical. You won the wall sit challenge against Brady. You won a physical competition after the higher lower, and then you ended up winning the final immunity challenge. Um, so I wanted to know how you kept your threat level down when you were clearly seen as a physical threat.
Yeah, thank you. So when it was touchy subjects, I was like voted most like the best physical game, and I knew at that point I kind of had to manage that with by building relationships and strengthening those. And I know personally when it came to you, I know we had a lot of talks, especially after Sky left and after merge happened, that I really wanted to work with you. I wanted to put the past things behind us and try to build on that. And I think for a second you kind of went along with that. Like you weren't really targeting me. You started to open up a little bit more and give me information. So using my social game to like make those connections stronger helped me to mitigate my physical threat. I mean, yeah, my threat, and having people wanting to go to rocks for me also mitigated my threat and got me where I am right now.
All right. Well, good luck to the three of you. My vote's still up in the air depending on what happens with the rest of this. I am leaning one way, but anything can happen. So good luck to you guys.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Now we are getting to the end, but we still have a couple more jurors, and our next juror is Kyle G.
Hey, what is up, y'all? Okay, I'm just gonna read off a script. I have a lot to talk about. Oh, I'm blurry, whatever. Okay. Hello, finalists. Final Tribal Council is ultimately about you and not me, so I won't be asking any stupid questions about myself or the other jurors, but just simply questions about your game. At first, I'll give you my notes on your Final Tribal Council performance so far, and then I will be giving like my own personal read on your game, and it is your job to tell me why you agree, somewhat disagree, or just disagree with my statement. Please hold back to talking until I'm done with your segment. I'll start with you, Tasha, my little baby girl. I forgive you, just to say it right off the bat. So no more tears, no more tears, no more tears. I forgive you, but I will not lie. I do feel a little disrespected that we were so close and you didn't have like the balls to talk to me at the final five. Like you promised me your loyalty and you did turn your back on that. And I forgive you. I'm just speaking game, so it's all game, baby. Also, this is just my first comment because it's very frustrating here. Like I can't help that I didn't start on the same tribe as you. That's production, not me. And I can tell you for sure that I still believe I truly never lied to you. And an ally is not just protecting you at the final 14 and then dragging you to the end. It is a continuous process. A person who tries to work things out with you and doesn't tell you what to do. And maybe we view being an ally differently, but I truly do feel like you turned your back on me for people who didn't value like I did and ultimately voted me out just because of the original color, but like a buff color, which is just disappointing. So it's okay. But here's my little statement. This is all game, not personal. This part isn't personal. Let's get into my statement, Tasha. I'm a political science student and I often incorporate PSC theories into my gameplay since many of the interactions between countries can show similarities to how org players perceive and react to situations, right? So if we circle back to our metaphor, this would there's a very basic theory to international relations that states every country's intention is to receive the best possible outcome for themselves. So if we circle back to our metaphor, this would mean that each castaway desires to ultimately be the sole survivor, right? Like win. And I feel like you don't really fit into this theory. Like you signed up for this game not desiring the best possible outcome, not wanting to win, and therefore played the game for others. Not to mention you're an extremely emotional person who at times let it get the best of their gameplay, such as going to rocks or adding a target to your back when you defended your closest allies to an unnecessary point. Finally, I believe despite preaching loyalty and friendship, compared to your other finalists, you treated the jury with the worst on their way out, ghosting many of us and refusing to talk with us when we were just trying to stay in the game that we wanted to win. And to my perception, you didn't. So let's recap. I want you to agree, disagree, or somewhat disagree with the read that you played this game to lose, played extremely emotionally to a fault, and treated the jury with a lack of respect, specifically me. If you disagree with this, or sorry, if you agree with this statement, you can leave it just with a I agree. But if you disagree with this statement remotely, I need a line of reasoning and some evidence. The floor is yours. You are muted. Ah!
I agree. I uh I feel like I played loyally to Juan and Andrew, and that's it. I wanted to play loyally to you. Um, Literally, your vote out broke my heart, and that's all I can say. Like, I don't know what else is. I don't know. I don't know what else I can say. It broke
I
my
know.
heart.
It to me it wasn't communicated in the way that you didn't communicate, and that just sucked from my point of view, and I think you can understand why. That's just all.
Yeah, but what am I supposed to say? I'm voting you?
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's best for my game, something like that. Instead of just completely ghosting me. I don't know. I wouldn't do that to you, and that just definitely hurt me. So that's it. I understand, agree, that's it. I'm just gonna
Okay.
go on.
Okay. I can't wait for this game to be over so we can just like get
Okay, I
on
love you.
call
I'm sorry. I'm
again.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, yes. All game. Next up is Juan. Juan, I have no notes on your final trip council, so here's my statement. Compared to the other two finalists who I feel played with unregulated emotion, you actually are the polar opposite. You're emotionalist throughout this game, which I do slightly prefer. I believe you played a pretty solid social game and were able to solidify allies in Tasha and Andrew who were willing to do anything for you, such as quite literally go to rocks. When it comes to your individual game, though, removing the other two finalists from the equation, I only really give you credit with the strategic influence on the Sky vote. And even then, we have Dave and Nick who claim to have started that. After then, you kind of just fell off the face of the earth. I also think that my perception of your game is a little skewed because we stopped being so close then. So to recap, I believe you played a completely emotionless game and somewhat fell off the face of the earth strategically from the final 12 to final 7. If you agree with this statement, you can just leave it out as a simple agree and you get the point. Evidence, whatever. I'm just gonna be shorter.
I'm gonna say somewhat agree because while yes, I did like find these allies who would do anything for me, and I kind of forgot what you said. I'm sorry. I'm having a memory lapse. Um, I'll say I'll somewhat agree, and because yes, while at the beginning of the game I tried to have those social relationships and back them up with my strategic moves, I also think that I don't think I fell off the face of the earth to be exact, like to some degree, but I knew that my relationships, I didn't want them to get clocked too closely with Andrew and Tasha because they had already been, and I wanted to keep that in the back of people's minds, which is why I beefed up my social relationships. I mean, my one-on-one relationships with people. And when it came to you, Kyle, um, like I said, I felt like we had similar game. Like I felt like I knew you were smart as hell. Even on the swap, I felt like you were a player who were gonna go far and knew what they were doing. So I made it a pack to kind of get close to you in that swap, and we shared information. I even shared information with other people to protect you, like the whole thing we talked about with Laura and my name coming up, and Laura said it to Sky, and I told Laura, but I said that Sky said it just to so you wouldn't go under heat for that. But I think the reason it seemed like I fell off was because after touchy subjects, B being a physical threat, I didn't really want to win immunities. I didn't throw them, but like I think it was in my best interest to not make that more put a bigger light or target on me, and I wanted to focus more on my relationships with people, and so I branched out, and instead of again coming in with all these alliances, I stayed true to like one-on-ones and making sure I
Totally.
connected personally with people to get here.
When it comes to strategy, though, from the final 12 to final 7, do you think you had a big influence on any of those travels, or did you kind of just like lean off and focus more on the social connections?
I think I definitely had an influence because at the end of the day, Cal Cal was someone who didn't give me information. I needed people in the game who gave me information. So voting Cal out was a big strategic move for me because Andrew leaving would have been bad because Andrew gave me information no matter if he took that information to other people and was using it against me. I still got information from Andrew. Um, Even the only one that really I didn't have a part in strategically was Nick, and I think that's all three of us. We didn't have a part in that one. So that is what it is. Michael and Brady, Michael was a strategic one because again, Michael was giving me information, but I don't think a lot of it was valid or true. And so to keep myself in a good position to where I knew I could keep people who wouldn't turn on me, Michael leaving was the best case scenario for myself. Um, and then we
Okay.
get up to the break.
I feel you. I like it. I'm just gonna go on to Andrew just for time's sake. It's not personal. Okay. Finally, Andrew, my notes is that from what you said so far is that I think you played a phenomenal game. I did say that in game. I just don't believe you need to state that you did everything or knew everything because I just think it comes off a little wrong. Like example, not knowing Duke voting you or not knowing where all the cold freezes were. I can for sure tell you that you did not know like where all the cold freezes were. Like I had two. I played both of them at the final seven, which I got from both Ty and Kyle M. Like I just lied, you know what I mean? Like you can't really know that. So I think when it comes to like you weaponizing voting correctly, I think this is a little bit of a flawed argument. Like I personally voted in the wrong a bunch of times. I think voting record doesn't really mean that much, like just on paper, but rather like actually pushing votes and being like a big voice matters to me more. At least that's my personal opinion. Anyways, here's my statement. I feel that you battled this season with your emotions like no other. Of course, you've been playing like with personal life issues, and I have no doubt that influenced your ability to play this game. But it was definitely apparent to me that sometimes you lacked game sense because you let your emotions get in the way. Think the Final Five Tribal Council if you voted out Juan at the Final Five, eliminating a front runner and the man guaranteed to win the next immunity, and then Final Four you eliminated me, who had no chance at immunity. You frankly probably win this entire game and sweep the jury. So instead, you stuck loyal to an alliance you felt emotionally connected to, and therefore possibly lost the game because of it. In addition, I feel that sometimes that if I did anything to combat your game or try to make a break for my own, like you felt personally insulted. Taking the final six planned against Juan to heart, me fighting for my life at the final five, or even kind of just being close to Tasha. Again and again, it felt like whoever was not close to Tasha or Juan was like an inconvenience to you. And I know that sounds bad, but I just need to say it out loud. And you showed it in your words to me personally. I also just feel like throughout this game, you played quite villainous, twisting realities and then blaming others for doing so, even guilt tripping me by saying you'd quit at the final five if that's what you want. I believe you were villainous to every single person outside your alliance of Tasha and Juan. So to recap, I believe you let your emotions get in the way of your strategy and then also played quite villainous at times, fabricating realities, being extremely messy with me with lies, or just manipulating close allies. If you agree, whatever, you get the whole point.
Yeah, some would agree, some would disagree. It wasn't emotional getting you out. I still think you were the best social player. I think I would have lost to you. There's no way I would have beat you at the end. If Tasha's allowed to, if she could just nod yes. If I were to vote out Juan at 6, I would have been next. She would have gone with you and voted me out.
I'm not saying at 6. I'm saying at 5 when Juan was the biggest physical threat. Vote Juan at 5, me at 4. You sweep the jury then.
I still think you would have beat me at the finale.
Nobody's saying to bring you at the final. I'm saying at the final immunity challenge, at final 4, you'd vote me out.
We do have
I honestly couldn't see you get that far. You were too big of a threat for me.
Okay, continue.
I think I'm out of time, or
no, she said a lot of time.
We have some pool time, so you can keep going. We have about 3-4 minutes.
Sorry, if you want to just reiterate anything else that you wanted to answer. Sorry.
Just being emotional in some of your gameplay, not having the greatest game sense, especially near the end, and being villainous at times, and manipulating close allies.
Yeah, for sure. I think touchy subjects resonated with a lot of us. I think me getting the hero award and then also saying I was the most strategic and someone that they would trust with their life. I think that kind of made my game that was detrimental to my game. People started to think that I was super trustworthy. And I think me being villainous is just my game style. It's just how I get further in this game. I'm not one to be overtly social. I'm someone who's overtly strategic. That's just my game style. That's how I plan to get to the end. And I never took anything personally. I never wanted to have like a personal fight with you about Tasha. I'm sorry it turned out that way. But my relationship with Tasha was very real. And I'm sure you saw me as a threat for Tasha in the same way that I saw you as a threat for my game with Tasha. And so it was all real. It was all real emotions. You know what I was going through. Everything that happened with me wasn't a very real thing that happened. Everything that happened in the game was a very real thing that I was experiencing. And it made my game not look as good as some others in some way, but I still played my hardest and I still played as strategic as I could. And I still played the best game of my ability.
Good answer. Just final question for you. At the final 6, Tasha was already voting me, and she had communicated to me that you said that I was hard targeting her and all this stuff, which was not true. And I feel like you did fabricate that reality when she was already clearly upset and like crying about it. And I want you to kind of just enlighten me a little bit more on that because that really did rub me wrong.
Yeah. So I didn't say that you were hard targeting her. I said that that Tasha's name came up as someone that we can deal with later. Tasha can confirm that. I definitely did say, definitely did hear you say that. I never brought up Tasha's name myself, but I did influence you into saying that Tasha would be a threat that we need to deal with later. I definitely influenced you into saying it. It was for my
Andrew,
own
you
benefit in the
definitely
game.
told me Kyle said my name.
I said, okay, I said that Kyle sees you as a threat that needs to be dealt with later. That's what I said.
Which I would believe, right, is not necessarily lying, but you did fabricate that reality and then like put a whole bunch of stuff on it.
Absolutely.
I don't know. For me, that just feels a little, but
Yeah.
it's your gameplay, so I'm happy you're
Yep.
owning up to
It's my
it instead of,
style. Yep.
Absolutely. So, congrats to you. Congrats to everybody, right? You all played fantastic games. Even you, Tasha. Love you, baby. Hope you're okay. And hugs. That's all. Thank you for the extra time.
I
Okay,
am so
thank
ready
you,
for this
Kyle.
game to be fucking over.
Well, it's almost over, Tasha. However, we've still got one more juror to ask some questions. So we will get them in here and then we will go to our closing statements. But let's get to our final juror, which is Dave.
Hello, Final Three. Unsurprisingly, I actually have things to say, so I don't know if anyone was expecting me not to. But congrats on getting here. You have all played a game, and I hope that you get something out of it. So, Tasha, my question to you is pretty simple. It's actually kind of a true or false kind of thing. Going back to the swap, were you needing people outside of this game, people from other games, to make decisions for you in this game?
Outside of the game? No.
Yes. Were you asking people in other orgs what you should do in this game because you didn't know how to vote or where to navigate the game?
No, just my prod member.
Okay, thank you. One, we all knew you were a threat very early on for endurance, but for also being effortlessly likable, for staying cool, calm, collected, despite the fact that your name came up so many times in this game. So honestly, the simple fact that you made it all the way to the end is more than commendable. And I hope you leave today being proud of what you did, because it's a testament to your savviness and to your social awareness. My question to you is, looking back on your game, do you have any regrets, or is there any specific moment in the game you wish you would have tackled on differently?
Thank you for that question, Dave. Honestly, usually I would say I don't have any regrets in my game because I feel like if anything would have happened any differently, I wouldn't be sitting here because my name came up so much as a threat. And I think I played every facet of the game like as good as I could with the information that I was given. But if I had to pick something that I wish I could have done differently was on the round where all the three of those idols were played and Nick left, I wish that um we could have just came together and done something there, and that would have prevented that whole thing from happening. But even then, I feel like if Nick would have stayed and like let's say James or Laura would have left, I feel like the end game would have been completely different, and I would have had to take a different route to get where I am right now. So yeah, no, I don't really have any regrets. I may have things that could have gone differently had we buckled down, but at the end of the day, I think things happen for a reason, and my ability to bounce back and yeah, bounce back from situations and refocus and reroute myself to get here. I think that's a real testament to what I've done.
Perfect, thank you. And Andrew, it's a pretty long one, so I've had to rewrite this about 12 times since Thursday. Because it turns out it's pretty hard to convey everything I wanted into something cohesive and strictly game related. But I think I've managed to do it in a yes or no format. There's just a little bit of build up to it. Because at the end of the day, it's really all stats and numbers in a chart for you. So I know you already know all those stats, but let me just state them real quick. I've won the most immunities this season. I've also won the most tiebreakers. I've been to every tribal but one. I didn't get a single vote at merge until the night I got voted out. I also got the least amount of votes in the entire game. I voted correctly all but 2 times because one of those times was Brady's vote. We did it wrong. There was no way I was going to vote that way, and it didn't make any sense. Also, you were definitely not the first person who knew I had the idol, so your read on that was definitely wrong. Andrew, I have more than enough self-awareness to know that I didn't play a fantastic game, but all those things that I've done, they're things that I've done in this game, and they're things that are my own things. And of course, that doesn't include the fact that time and time again, I had to talk you out of quitting the game or throwing your game away. At the swap, when the first thing you said to me was that your game was over, at final 12, at 11, and again at final 5 when Kyle called you out on your lies. Because even after final 6, when I told you that saving one was costing us both the game, it still wasn't enough. I still had to play therapist for you. Still had to be the voice of reason to temper your paranoia. Because you were convinced every single round that everyone was out to get you. Friends, allies, rivals, we were all interchangeable to you like pieces on a chessboard. Because of course, the whole purpose of this game, the entire purpose of this cast was just to get you out. But Andrew, trying to quit every time something doesn't go your way, it's not strategic and it's not a mark of success. It's a cop-out and it's an insult to everyone playing this game. So my question to you is this. Do you understand how reductive and belittling it was to see you try and shit on all that I've done by finding a loophole to go around the promise that you've made? Telling me that you would throw immunity at Final 5, at Final 4, telling me that you would get your friends to vote for you so you would go to fire against Tasha? What was that for? Was that for pity? Was that to make me your charity case? To be the savior and feed that main character syndrome that you have? Do you realize how diminishing and insulting to me that was?
Can you repeat the part about what I was gonna do at Final Five?
You were going to quit the game.
For what
The morning
reason?
after Rocks, when Kyle called you out for your lies and you said, well, I'm going to quit the game for Tasha.
Oh yeah. Of course, yeah. I was emotional at that time. I would have actually quit for Tasha. You might think that I was treating people as chessboards or pieces on a chessboard. My relationships with you guys are real. You know this, Dave. We just like Nick knew Juan outside of this game, I knew you outside of this game. We were amazing friends. I never wanted to break our relationship like it happened. I was stuck in a hard place. I didn't want to vote out Tasha because of the relationship that we made, and I didn't want to you to go to fire with her because I knew you would possibly win against her. You did play the best game. I think you did play the best game this season, and you could have probably won this. I really do. I really do think so. And honestly, like, I understand that you think that like I was this evil person that didn't appreciate our friendship. I worked with you every single day in this game. Of course, I conveyed all of these feelings to you because you were like my best friend. You're still my best friend outside of this game. Like
Can
I
I
talk to you
can
every
I
single
can
day.
can I speak up?
No, I'm speaking. I want to be. I want Dave to know that outside of this game, I still just want to be friends with you. That's all I want. This whole entire day, all I wanted to do is talk to you about UFC tonight. Like that's literally all I wanted. All I wanted to do was just be your friend in this game. And I'm sorry
Dave,
that it ended up the way that it did. But
Dave,
yeah, it just ended in a bad situation.
Dave,
Yeah.
I've been dealing with some domestic violence and I've been clear with Andrew about it. And I feel like that's why maybe he, I don't know.
And I was going through the thing with my grandmother, and so that bond that I made with Tasha, where we were speaking every night until 4 a.m. about the things that we were going through, is the only reason that I couldn't vote for her over you. It had become more than the game at that point. If my relationship with Tasha in this game didn't exist, it's very possible that me and you could be sitting in the final 3 with Juan right now.
And I don't want to be disrespectful, Tasha. I do feel for you, and we've talked about this in the game. Andrew, that wasn't my question at all, though.
So sorry, what is your question?
Do you understand how telling me that you would throw immunity to me at Final 4, or that you would get Juan and Tasha to send you to fire was diminishing, belittling, and reductive of what I've done in this game? It's a yes or no question.
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, Dave, are you all good? Just want to double check that you are done. Okay, thank you. So, with that, the jury have asked all their questions. And now it is down to you three to have your closing statements and speeches. This is your last chance to speak directly to the jury before they vote. So we are going to go in reverse order. So just confirming that does mean it will be Andrew going first, then Tasha, and then finishing up with Juan. So I'm going to hand it over again to Meg, who will do the final speeches. A reminder, you each have 5 minutes for your closing speeches. Andrew, you are going to go first. I'm just going to confirm with Megan that the time is ready to go.
Yep, I will start the timer as soon as you start talking.
Okay, I'm ready. So every relationship I made in this game was genuine. I truly love meeting and playing with all of you. Sure, we had our arguments and fights, but we all fought with passion for this game to get to the end. This was definitely the smartest cast I've ever had to fight against, and it was clear from the early days that I was going to have a hard time getting here. But I truly put all of my willpower and determination to get here. I manifested, I dreamed about getting to the end, and now I sit here knowing I played the best game. I was strategically sound, I was socially adept, and I was physically capable to win when I needed to win a challenge. I always knew what was going on. I always voted correctly. I always knew. I always had information about advantages, even when I didn't have any of my own. I resonated in all sense of the words of triumph with everything that I have gone through in my own personal life and in the game. And I understand that maybe that doesn't sit right with some of you, but I would love to receive your votes this evening. I think I did truly play a great game. It was messy. It was tough getting here, but I know I was the strategic threat that you guys saw me as since touchy subjects, and I knew I had to work as hard as I could in order to get here.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. We are now going to move on to Tasha.
Hi, friends. What did I say? I think that I tried to play loyal. I know I hurt some people's feelings, and I apologize about that. I voted correctly every single time except for the Kyle vote because Kyle told me. I've been going through a lot of stuff personally, so this game's been a lot. And I mean, if I'm a zero vote finalist next to Juan or Andrew, I'm not even mad about it, to be honest. So, like, be fucking for real. All right, bye.
Okay, thank you, Tasha. And we are now going to finish off the closing statements with Juan.
Yes. I just want to say again, thank you to the jury, to the production for putting on this great game. It was definitely one for the books. I think it was crazy. I came into this game fresh off of another Survivor game where, early on it kind of went the same. I found the two people I wanted to ride to the end with, but the only thing was we swapped, and I swapped with those two people, and they just blew me off right at swap. And I was pre-jury, and from that day on, I was like, I want to play another game, and I want to go in, and I want to right my wrongs and figure out what I did wrong. And I think I did that this game to a T. I still found the two people I was willing to go to the end with, and I made it work no matter what. I think I had a strong hold on my own game this entire game. I had the social connections. I made decisions that benefited myself, even if they didn't benefit the other two people sitting beside me. Even though I was working with them, I still benefited myself with every vote and every decision that I made. Like they said, we all voted the same way in the votes. Some might be different. The only vote I had no clue about was Nick. Other than that, I feel like I had pretty much all the information of what was going on when it came to voting. I didn't know where any of the advantages and idols or any of that was, but I knew if I kept my social connections good with people, that when it came time to use those advantages, I would know that, or I would suffer from it. The only time that I did suffer was from the cold freeze, and I knew that was going to be a problem at the beginning when I started winning those wall sits and winning those endurance challenges. But that still didn't stop people from letting me get to the final four when everyone knew it was an endurance challenge. I think I played a well-rounded game. I think I had social moves, I had strategic moves, and I definitely gave my part in the physical component of this game, which got me here. Um, I a lot of people y'all have said that haven't had really emotions. I had emotions, but I made sure to deal with them in my prod chat. I would leave voice notes. I would talk out my theories and my examples in my prod chat and type up small summaries about what I thought was going on. And I used that information that I got. I didn't act sporadically on it. And I thought about every single piece of information that I got and asked myself, how can I use this to benefit my game? And I think I did that perfectly. The one time I was at my lowest was when my name was coming up around finals 7, 8, and I knew that I had to make a complete turn in my game. Both of these people sitting beside me were willing to put their game on the line to save me. At the end of the day, I would have flipped my vote if it was me because I wasn't risking myself going on the wheel, but I had two other people that would put everything on the line to make sure that I got further in this game. And they allowed me, to get to that Final Four immunity where I was able to win that. I was able to build relationships that, might not have been the closest or might not have brought them into alliances, but I was able to break them because I didn't promise them false promises. I didn't tell them, hey, let's go to the end together. I was able to make deals that benefited me on a round by round basis and still come out on the top in this final three. Yeah, I think I flourished strategically. I didn't have to do petty lies for no reason. If I did lie, it was for strategy and not just to lie. And even if those lies were said, it was small lies like who told me this to protect the person who actually told me. At the end of the day, I think all three of us played a great game, but I feel like I played a well-rounded game, and I hope that you guys think I deserve your votes and will reward me with your votes to win this game. I always come so close in Survivor games. I get to the end, but I always fall so short. And I feel like this time I gave my all and that I deserve to be rewarded for the game that I've played. And I hope that you guys see that. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for playing this game and making it so much fun. I was drinking a Four Loco today and it was great. So I hope you guys vote with your heart and vote with your head. Vote for who you want to. No vote is a wrong vote. And yeah, thank y'all.
Okay, thank you, Juan, and thank you, Final Three. You guys have done an amazing job this final Tribal Council, so all of you should be very proud. But the power is now going over to the jury. Jury, you are now voting for who you want to win this game. You are each going to go into the voting booth now and cast your vote to win. I'm going to make this very clear. Who you want to win. You're not voting anyone off. Just want to make sure. But you will each go in there one at a time and you will cast your vote to win. So we're going to get sorted with that now. This is your time. If you want to come on camera and do shout outs, you may do so.
No, talking
just
about
a
the game
reminder,
or who you're voting for. Sorry, I didn't know if
that
you
is what I was,
before they
yeah,
started talking.
I was about to mention, please no game questions. If you wanted to ask them something, you had your jury questions to ask that. So, and I'm going to kick things off with the final time. Just a reminder. Just a reminder.
Yes.
Yes.
Only because you told me to. No.
Well, Sky, you're going to be shit, aren't you?
I'd also, at this point, like to remind everybody to shout out the Survivor Now podcast. No, Ollie has not threatened my life. If I did not do that.
I just want to say real quick on what was it? Just on behalf of myself and whoever wants to agree with me, this has been such a wild season. It has been an eclectic season. You have all been such a wild, at very times quite messy bunch, but it has been an absolute delight being a part of the season with all of you. So thank you for the journey and thank you all for playing hard. At the end of the day, it is a game. We do these because they're enjoyable, hopefully, most of the time, sometimes, never mind. But yes, thank you all for being you and for doing what it do.
Shout out to Chanel because she's that girl for the last time.
Shout out to Chanel because she that girl.
If I can talk a little bit, and I will freeze, just a warning, because my desktop is a crock of shit when it comes to Wi-Fi. It just happened again, right? My computer's a crock of shit. My computer's a crock of shit, but we're still gonna talk, motherfucker. No matter what happens, I am so proud of you guys. Genuinely. It takes a lot to play these games. Emotionally, strategically. No matter what happens tonight, no matter what's happened in the season, be proud of yourselves because y'all did this shit regardless. Every single one of you. Y'all did this shit.
I'm never playing again.
Eyes.
Like, be fucking for real. I'm never playing again.
Just to finish what Brandon was saying, I'm gonna add, go talk to your therapist all the time, but especially when you play orgs. Schedule an appointment.
I'm still gonna be on here because I have to work for the next 30 minutes, but I'll be here.
Oh, well,
Shout
I
out.
guess. Oh, I'm sorry. You can finish shout out.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Jordan for sending me face pics all season. I love you. You're my little baby and you're so handsome. That's all. Thank you, Jordan, the host.
I was gonna say now's the time that Pride can reveal that psych, we're actually going back to Final 13 and we're restarting. So
we're actually going back to Final
Holy.
20.
never mind.
Unfortunately,
I would literally unalive myself.
Unfortunately, this is
I
all
am not going through this shit again.
I hate to
Imagine we just replay the whole
say,
thing.
unfortunately, this has all been a long con. This has all been a long con. Your final three is actually Melissa, Ashley, and a C. That's your final three.
Oh my god.
I'm voting for
voting for
Melissa.
Ashley.
I'm
And
picking. I vote Melissa.
Also, to determine who actually will be on the jury, we are going to rocks. Some of you will not make it.
Laura loses again.
My time is over because
Oh
I was
my
lucky with
God.
that will.
Hey, I just want to say, like, cheers, final three. Great job. It's over.
Cheers.
You
Good
get
job.
to relax now.
Shout out to everyone on this cast because we did that shit.
Period. What are you drinking, Cal?
This was a rough game. This was
An
a really
IPA.
rough game.
Understatement. This game was
I
crazy.
honestly think I'll never play another org again. That was so rough.
I mean, it's probably already been said, but shout out to everybody for making this an amazing first org experience, and especially to Prod. You guys have been fantastic. I signed up because I heard so much about this being such an amazing Prod team. And you guys have been phenomenal. And my baby Sam as well. I love you in particular. So shout out to Sam as well as all of Prod. You guys have been fantastic.
Oh my
James,
God,
is this really the moment to
James, I've
campaign for
missed
All
your voice.
Stars? Come
I
on.
have missed your voice. I have so missed your voice.
And shout out Final Three as well. You guys are awesome. Sorry if it was a little bit harsh. I really do enjoy you all.
Period.
Yeah.
Tasha, you can only flirt with me. Like, I don't know where this is coming from.
No,
She's still collecting her
James-
gaze even after the
like
game.
Infinity Stones. Like Infinity Stones.
James is my first boyfriend.
Damn, fuck me.
Oh, Juan, yeah, you're my boyfriend too. Okay.
Oh my god.
But like literally, James, like stop. You have dimples. Quit it.
Tasha.
Okay, I'm a flirter. But only with gay men. Only with gay men, because straight men scare me.
Same. Well,
Sorry, Kyle. Sorry, Kyle. I didn't want you to see me like this.
I keep trying to see what Cal is drinking, Cal M, but he freezes every time I ask.
Yeah, it just keeps freezing. Also, Juan, give me a kiss. Congrats on your win, baby.
Girl, the votes are still happening. Don't.
Oh,
Did you see it now, Juan?
I'm trying to get my last Infinity Stone.
Oh my god. You know what I will say though? Andrew, I wish I had a suit and tie. That's one thing I don't have. I have polos.
I asked you guys, I messaged you guys and I said, I can't wait to see you dress up with me. And then I get on the call and no one dressed.
I told you I only have polos. I have polos and whore clothes. Which one do you want?
When you
I
said a
was
collared shirt, I thought
napping.
you were gonna
I
wear
was-
like a button up.
I was
Oh, girl,
napping. Juan called me and said, "You are so annoying. Get on call. You're late."
All the jury was supposed to wear gray, but I see Michael, I see me.
I wore gray.
Oh, okay.
I've
Okay,
still got my
wait.
uniform shirt underneath.
Okay.
I'm
I
so
see it now.
not.
Like having a midday nap.
The
Like
Brits
my
kinda
midday
ate
nap.
though.
Like I'm 2 hours behind everybody.
Like the Brits ate. Like Ollie and James kind of popped out with your outfits though. Like
My phone kept vibrating. I'm like, what the fuck
Oh,
is
yeah.
this? And then I answer and it's just Juan. He's like, get the fuck on call. You're late.
I said,
He's
Tasha, she
over
said, what do you mean? She said, what do you mean? I said, Tasha, where the fuck are you?
I was hoping you were just doing your hair or something. Nope. Sleeping
No,
as usual.
I was napping. Like I nap.
wait, Kyle,
Wow.
is that? Let me see that shirt. Get the reveal. Let me see. You look good.
I was gonna ask.
Why gray?
I don't know. They said gray. It's like okay.
I wore blue for once, because like for my cast picture, I wore red, not thinking that Siberia is cold and blue. So I'm like, well, you know what? Let me wear blue for for final.
Duke was like, we can wear blue or black, like his hoodies.
I was hoping for naked to just like snatch on all the gays.
That's how it works.
It was for me because I'm working.
Yeah, I think that's how
Oh.
it works.
It was to match Sky Scrubs, apparently.
Imagine everybody was just naked.
Joshua, what?
Make it FTC. I mean,
Yeah, that'd be so funny. I dare everybody. Everybody do it. Do it.
this video
I
is
just
for kids.
Oh
Real
yeah,
quick,
there's children.
to
Okay, fine.
whoever in prod is listening, I was invited to join the meeting room, and then I had a technical difficulty, and so I still want to vote. It was like the worst possible time for that to fucking happen.
Yeah. They're gonna bring you back in after they're done with Laura.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
But James, they said you have to get naked.
What, right now, front or back?
We did not say that.
Not fun or bad.
I
Yeah, they
can
did.
confirm
You
that
are a
was never
freaky.
said by
They
production
did, James. They did.
Hard or soft? I can spread them if you like.
Just a reminder, we were live on YouTube.
Hi, YouTube.
Interestingly enough, the only thing YouTube cares about is whether you're drinking on camera or not. They don't say anything about any full frontal nudity. So carry on.
Okay,
I was
James.
drinking.
John, how did you figure that out? I just Jeremy's laughing in the background, like, how do you know that?
Because you can do it if it's educational purposes for YouTube. Yep.
I'm pretty sure John has read the votes without a shirt before.
I mean, it's not like I've gotten in trouble from YouTube or gotten in trouble while I was at college for copyright violations or anything. So, no, yeah.
All right, here's my boobs.
Please.
It wouldn't
I got
be
scared
the
for a
first
second.
triumph. It wouldn't be the first triumph season, and it wouldn't be the last.
Oh God, I can't wait for this to be over.
I miss Aussie's Kiki Palmer memes.
You miss what?
I miss Aussie's Kiki Palmer memes. Like those took me out every time.
He is hilarious.
I miss Ashley. Y'all did her
Me too.
wrong.
Y'all did her
Wrong.
Ashley was robbed.
Ashley was
She
robbed.
so robbed. She was
Very
so robbed.
Queen of dumpster diving.
Right?
Literally, like
That was low-key a strategic vote, low-key.
queen of spawning everywhere for that first challenge.
What an attractive cast, though. I'm like looking at everybody. I'm like, oh yeah, they're gay.
Ashion.
Don't wake me up from a nap.
A nap sounds great. What time is it?
It's
8:33. Okay.
it's too late for a nap now. It's 6:33, I think. What time is it?
I think you should ask James what time it is for him.
What time is it, James?
Earlier
It
than
is
usual.
2:33 a.m. But I'm at dinner party and it's been going all night. So, we're up, we're drinking. We had a good time.
Oh, yeah, it's the weekend.
I
James,
will just say, as the British prod member, when all three of you said you wanted to start at 7, I was very much appreciative.
Oh,
So,
mate.
thank you.
Absolutely.
We took you and James into account.
Oh, did
James,
you? Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you.
yeah, and then now, James, you have to date me.
I can if you can tell me what I do for a living.
I can't remember.
When
Who wants
when
to
Juan
tell
and I were both
Tasha?
smiling, I assumed that we both knew.
Who wants to tell Tasha? Who wants to tell her?
Let's see if she can figure it out.
No.
Anyone
on,
else care
take a
to
guess.
answer? Andrew one.
Just go to cash reveal
Please,
really
he
quick. Just go
probably
to
told me
something to do with
he probably told me like 2 minutes after a nap. Like, come on.
go to
something
cash
to do
reveal
with
really quick.
dating.
Dating.
What?
I can confirm it rhymes with pony pans.
Oh, funny.
Pony pants. Pony pants.
The fact that took me a second. It took me a second.
Okay. Okay, let me think.
That's a side
Pony pants.
I got you, Latasha. Go to the Discord and go to cast reveal and scroll up, girl.
Babe, do you really think that I can do that like that quick? Come on.
I said, what's my boyfriend's name? And she said she just started thinking of men's names and the thought of the cast and said Dave. I wish, but Dave's on like the other end of the planet.
You call me when like we were on calls and I was like half sleeping. I was just looking at your dimples mostly, like to be honest.
thank you.
Like seriously, like you're so handsome. Like how are you not gonna look at that? Sorry. Like, am I gonna listen to what you're saying or just like look at your face?
Thank you.
Tasha, kill the boner.
Speaking of-
Kill it. Put it down. You're so
Speaking of handsome, Andrew, I rate the suit.
I'm being for real
She's
though.
obsessed.
Like every time me and James were on call, I was just looking at his dimples and how handsome he was.
I did the 3-piece too. I have like a vest on the inside and everything.
With the
And I was
pants
waiting.
on,
I was
too?
waiting. I was waiting for
but
these
is he wearing
guys
the
to match
sweats?
me. And
Tasha,
I can't believe you fell
right,
asleep.
everybody. I am going to interrupt you
that.
here because I have the votes. All right. Like I said, okay, here we go. All
Wait,
right.
hold on. Can the rest of the jury go back off camera really quick while we read them, just so we can focus on the final 3?
Hold on. Can I hold on? Let me mute me. Hold on. Thought I got pretty good at this. There you go.
I went and told Ollie that I'd get my best suit on for you all, so I got my birthday suit. Anywho, you want to see your name? Here we go. First vote, Tasha. Second vote, Juan. Third vote, Andrew. We are tied, 1 apiece. Fourth vote, Juan. Fifth vote, Tasha. We have 2 votes Tasha, 2 votes Juan, 1 vote Andrew. Sixth vote, Juan. Seventh vote, Juan. That is 4 votes Juan, 2 votes Tasha, 1 vote Andrew. Eighth vote. And the winner of Triumph Siberia, Juan. Juan, congratulations. You have one triumph, Siberia. Go ahead.
Congrats!
Oh my gosh, y'all don't understand how many times I
There,
played Survivor games and been third place with no votes like 4 times. And like I'm just so happy.
there's not a better winner that I would love to sit next to be honest. Like you have been such a true ally. You deserve it.
You definitely do.
Thank y'all so
You definitely
much.
deserve it.
And no one was a 0 vote finalist. We all ate this, and I'm glad I could sit beside you two. And I really thank the jury for everything and making this a great game, and the prod too. But jury is more important. I'm kidding. Thank you.
I was gonna say I have some extra votes here that weren't really counted, so I'm gonna go ahead and count those now. The winner is literally everybody but one.
No, but Juan, thank you so much. You have triumphed. Tasha, Andrew, I know it's a bittersweet feeling, but be very proud of your games. You both did amazing, and like we've constantly been saying, making it to the end is a very tough thing to do. So congratulations. But Juan, you are a sole survivor, so I would just want to say well done. And maybe me being in your project for that other game was meant to be.
Juan, I am so happy that my last org game forever and ever and ever was with you winning. So
I do just want to say, Tasha, like I played a game with Tasha like 2 years ago, and like we were like final twos in that game, but she got taken out at swap, kind of the same way how swap ended up with her being swap fucked. And like I knew when I saw Tasha again, I'm like, we're going to the end. I don't give a fuck how we do it, and I'm just glad we could do it this time. And so thank you for being a good friend, Tasha.
I'm so proud of you. I really am.
So congratulations once again, Juan. We are going to end this stream, but don't go anywhere because we are going to be having our little reunion and awards.